Welcome to the 89th episode of the Nerdom and Other Nonsense Anime Podcast. Today, we are bringing you our Spring 2019 season first impressions, based on the first few weeks of shows that have aired. As always, we include timestamps in the description of the YouTube video and podcast feed if you only want to hear about one or two specific shows, since we spoil a lot of shit. My name is Bcom, and there are too many shows about lollies as wives this season. Can you feel my tears? They won't dry. Also with me are Kat and Leo.
Okay, if we ever meet up in person, the three of us, we need to do karaoke. And we need to record it. We need someone to record it, and we need to all get drunk, and then we're going to post it on YouTube. It'll be permanently etched in history.
And it'll be so good, it'll get copyright striked immediately, because they won't believe it wasn't professional singing. Obviously.
Yeah. Obviously.
How are you guys doing?
I'm just sitting here shaking my head no.
Are you ready for spring, Leo?
I am ready for spring.
Spring
you
sounds
know what they
awesome.
say about spring? Every spring has an end game.
Yeah. Oh my god. Okay, so we're gonna spoil shit in Endgame. So if you haven't seen it for whatever fucking and you call yourself a nerd if you haven't seen it by now, come on. But if you haven't, then Bcom is gonna put a timestamp.
Yeah, there'll be a timestamp for when we start talking about the first anime, which will be Hitoribocchi, which will be after we just chat about Endgame a little bit, because we all saw it and just wanted to talk about it for like a couple minutes.
Yeah, so go ahead and skip now.
If you want to.
We'll just have a couple seconds of silence.
Let's be honest, you all saw it already, though, so.
Yeah, come on. I mean, who hasn't?
Like, it made like $1.2 billion worldwide.
Everyone's
you fucking
seen
saw it already.
Yeah.
So what are your guys' general thoughts? I really liked it a lot.
Oh, shit. Okay, so I really liked it. I thought it wrapped everything up well, but I was pissed off that Black Widow died. And after I saw that Black Widow died, I was like, "Ugh," and like had this face on the entire rest of the movie. That
I
was
can
like,
see that.
Like a constipated, like angry face.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, yeah, when she and Hawkeye went to get the Soul Stone, I was like, all right, one of them's gonna die, and one of them is a guy with a huge family who they introduced at the beginning of the movie, losing his family, and he's like, has to find his way, and Black Widow has no family. And I wonder who's gonna die here.
You were the wrong one. You picked the wrong guy with the family, because it was, Tony Stark who bit the dust.
But it sucks. Like, Black Widow's amazing, and she should have had her own damn movie. And now
she's going to get a movie. You know that they're doing a Black Widow movie.
It's gonna just be like a recap,
it's like a prequel,
or whatever
maybe?
the fuck. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted her to stay on and be a badass.
She is really
cool.
She
was my favorite.
Really? She was your favorite? That's interesting.
Yes.
I don't think Black Widow is many people's favorites, but that's really interesting.
She was my favorite.
Yeah.
She will always be my favorite, damn it. Fuck that.
How about
Fuck
Fat Thor? He was awesome.
Oh, that was amazing. Yeah.
Dude,
the question is,
stands up
Kat,
and
would you
rubs his
still
belly.
sleep with Fat Thor?
Well, yes, he's Thor. What the fuck are you talking about?
But he's like a shitty gamer now who like talks shit on his headset on Xbox Live.
Well, but I would make it so he can't hang out with that friend of his, because that's obviously the bad influence, is that weird guy who's like, hey, mate.
I love that guy.
But he's weird.
You can't split those guys up. They're the fucking best.
They're fucking weird, and they have a bad influence on him. I'd be like, you can't hang out with him anymore. But I'll fuck you as much
that was
as you
Thor
want.
wallowing in his own self-pity because he lost Asgard and all that crazy shit.
And
he was
scared
drinking himself away, yeah.
I love the sunglasses combined with the beer belly. It's just so bizarre.
Well, he was basically the dude from The Big Lebowski.
The Big
at that point.
Lebowski, yeah. That had me dying because I was like, yep, he is.
I love the taco scene. That was one of the funniest things in the whole fucking movie.
Oh, with Ant-Man?
Well, yeah, I feel like she's just sitting there trying to eat his taco, and it's just like, it just destroys the taco. And he's like,
honestly, when I first saw that, I was like, it's not a tiny taco. Your last thing.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the tiny tacos. Oh man, I like when they tried to figure out the time travel at first, and like Ant-Man kept turning into like an old man and then a baby.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this poor guy.
I love the scene where the Hulk and they're like, you have to smash things while you walk through the city.
That was pretty good too.
And he's like, fine. It feels gratuitous, but fine. And he's just like, whoa, and just like half-heartedly.
I also liked how like Captain Marvel was like barely in the movie because I hadn't seen that movie, and I was like, all right, it's fine.
Oh, really?
Like, she was barely in it. She shows up at the beginning.
Well,
she's like, I need to go
didn't know you
save
hadn't seen it
1,000
yet.
other planets. And she's like, bye-bye.
She kind of acted like a bitch. I was like,
She
dude,
did.
come on.
Yeah, I was surprised she wasn't in it a lot more. I found that interesting to me. What do you think about her haircut?
I actually
laughed.
like her better with the haircut. She looks better.
I laughed because
Really?
I knew like a certain portion of the internet was going to like go nuts over her short hair. And I was like, oh, this is great.
She looked much better as the superhero with the short hair.
I think she
be
looked good.
honest.
Yeah. She also
Yeah.
did her best at the end when she was taking on Thanos with the others. But man, yeah, I loved the
murdered
part
that
when they
ship.
went back to the 70s, Tony and Cap. That was great.
Yeah.
Getting to like see his, Peggy
His dad.
and his dad. Yeah.
Well, and then he
Also,
goes
yeah.
and he lives his life with fucking that girl, which
Yeah.
also pissed me off because I always wanted Thor and Captain America and Black Widow to end up together.
Ooh.
And they didn't. And he went back to his like old bitch, which completely fucks up the timeline because it means he dated his own like niece or whatever, doesn't it?
I don't even know. I don't
And
think
doesn't
it's is it his niece? I don't even know how they were related. I don't remember that first Captain America movie.
But does that mean that she knew that she ends up with him, but like didn't tell him before?
I saw an interview where they explained that was a different timeline, which was how he was able to go back and live with that woman, which was his first love.
Yeah,
Well,
it was his
like-
first love.
But you have to admit, Black Widow and him would have been good together. You got like the goody two shoes boy,
But they didn't
and then like
even hint at that once, did they?
I always thought it was
had
like
good chemistry.
Hawkeye and her, but then
Well,
then he had a family.
But then
have
it
to
was
admit
her
they have
and
good
the
chemistry.
Hulk, or Bruce
The Hulk.
Banner.
too, yeah.
I don't know. I got irritated with that. I didn't like them as much.
You didn't buy
I
it?
just had my heart set on like pairing those two together, like Captain America and her, because they're such opposites in some ways. And I was like, yes, smush them together. Like, but it didn't work. So
But yeah, the two lines from the movie that really got me were the "on your left" when everybody fucking shows up, and then "I am Iron Man" when like Thanos is like, "I am inevitable," and I'm like, "Fuck you, Thanos." This is
Yeah.
Iron Man, motherfucker. I was happy with those. Those are great lines.
yeah,
Got
did
really
everyone
pumped up.
scream at the moment where Captain America grabs the hammer?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I was like,
People,
I
like,
already knew that was
stood
gonna
up.
happen.
people stood up and cheered. It was ridiculous.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember anybody reacting. I remember myself just like internally going, "Oh, that's cool. He's worthy." But I don't think. But this is interesting for me because so I went on a Sunday morning. That's usually
yeah.
when I watch new movies because there's almost nobody there. The first 3 showings were already sold out. So I turned around
Damn.
and walked home, and then I didn't go to work on Tuesday. So Tuesday morning I went at 10:45 and there was still it was okay. There was still enough space between like everybody and stuff. But the top portion was definitely just full enough that some people sat in the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So even then, like on a Tuesday morning at 10:45, there were still that many people watching the damn show.
It was
So
pretty
like that was the
insane.
crowd I was with. But if I looked around, everybody looked like your stereotypical like overweight nerd lives in their mom's basement for the most part. I'm sad to say. So like I knew these guys were the nerds. This may have been like their 3rd time watching it for all I know. So
Yeah, it could be.
yeah, I just didn't get there wasn't a reaction during that scene for me.
Yeah. I'm curious where things go from now. Like, I know the movies are making next. Like, there's the Spider-Man coming up, and there's, like, Black Widow after that, I think. And then, like, Thor and the Guardians together, which sounds like it'll be fun.
Dude, I saw that and I was like, really? Thor's with the Guardians now? I was like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
pretty much.
I didn't know what to think. I was just kind of, I
Yeah.
don't know. I was like, how does this work out?
It was good overall. Like they ended it well. It was definitely like a successful ending. Like, they nailed it. They did.
Anyway, so you guys want to move on to actual spring anime?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's do our podcast.
Yeah, so I actually had this all sorted by, like, when these shows, like, actually first released for once, which started mostly with Friday things. So, the first show we've got is, on Fridays, it is Hitoribocchi no Maru Maru Seikatsu, which is based on a 4-koma manga from studio C2C, which stands for Challenge to Challenge. I remember that. The director, Takefumi Anzai, hasn't directed anything before, but was like an episode director on shows like Snow White with the Red Hair, Hanasaku Iroha, Darker Than Black, and Soul Eater.
Well, that's
And
been
yeah,
a
we
while.
watched the first 2 episodes of most of these shows, and so
I actually watched 3 episodes on this one.
I did too.
I just watched it too. It was okay. I don't know. You
It's
guys
cute.
liked it a lot more.
It's
I-
from the
yeah.
same manga author as Mitsuboshi Colors, which we liked.
Which may have got me a little too excited and maybe hopeful. But
Yeah,
like
probably.
I didn't really care for it at first, and I kind of felt like I was like, I bet we need more of this main cast to get involved. And then I bet like the synergy will really start working. And I felt like it did when Aru showed up and it got better. And so that's why I ended up watching the 3rd episode, hoping that 4th girl would show up, the American who's obsessed with ninjas or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, she didn't show up in the 3rd episode, but so that was kind of sad for me. But I think it'll be really funnier when she gets in there. So
One of the things that kind of got me into the show was I saw a YouTube video somebody had translated with like 2 of the main voice actresses talking about the show as like a promotion, and talking about how all of the characters in the show have names that are puns about like their personality. So Hitoribocchi, her name is, Bochi Hitori, but like Hitoribocchi in Japanese means all alone or alone basically, and it makes sense since she's like this little cute girl who is trying to make friends because her childhood friends like I won't be friends with you anymore unless you make friends with everyone in your new class at your new school.
That was dumb.
It is really
I thought it was a
dumb.
little bit of a dick move too.
Totally.
It almost felt like she was trying to get rid of her.
It's like, fuck
Yeah.
you. You know what? I hate you. Like, why don't you just go away or something? I don't know.
But I
That's
feel like
weird.
by the end of this, though, like, Bochi's going to come back at her with, like, an army of friends to back her
Yeah.
up.
Yep.
It'll be great.
Maybe.
So it's, like, sort of building up to that. But the thing is, like, Bochi is, like, horribly, like, socially inept and has tons of anxiety, which is the most of the comedy in the show. But yeah, she immediately meets Sunao Nako, which means honest child in Japanese. And she's like an honest girl. She's just, like, normal. She's like the most normal person in the show, I would say. And then, yeah, Leo was talking about Hansho Aru, which means hiding her true nature in
She's kind of
Japanese.
funny.
And there's a whole bunch of other ones like that. But, yeah, I think it's goofy and it's fun. It's not like some big, like, grand sweeping narrative or anything, but it's, like, fun each week. But, yeah, I'm like, lukewarm on it. I think it's pretty good, though.
Yeah,
this
it's
is
just, it's like this cute little girl who's shy and she's like making friends with people or whatever, but it just feels like a preschooler's like story in a high school or something. It's like, do
Yeah.
you want to be my friend?
I
It's
think
okay.
I'll at least watch it to see Ninja Girl show up, just so I can know if she's actually going to be as funny as I hope she is. But
If I start hearing you guys say it's good, I may try it again because I didn't hate it. It just wasn't anything unique or interesting for me. Didn't catch my eye.
Okay.
Let's move on then. Next, we've got Fruits Basket 2019 or Fruits Basket First Season, which is on Crunchyroll, and it also has a Funimation simuldub, which is pretty cool. They even brought back Laura Bailey from the original show to voice the main character, and she's doing a good job.
Oh, I'm so happy they did this. So, okay, so far, I did you see the original Bcom? Because I know Leo is new to the series.
So I've been saying, I've been actually watching the original each week as I watch the new one. Yeah, which has been fun because it's interesting to see how they've like slightly differently adapted certain things, how they've changed up the visuals to modernize them a bit more from the old ones. And then like there's certain things I like about the old one better. There's certain things I like about the new one better, and I just think it's a really good remake overall, though.
I think this will be a really interesting series. Because I think we may end up covering it, and like we're all coming at it from such different like views. Like I watched it when it originally came out, and then I also read the manga because I was like so obsessed, and they end it like at this weird moment, and there's so much more in the manga. And what I'm excited about is in this series, in the remake, it says season 1 at the end.
Yeah.
And it's like a trigger, like, we are going to finish the manga this time. We promise.
Yep.
Like, and I'm like, thank fucking God. But it'll be interesting to see how they handle, because, like, the first part that they actually cover in the first time was just very cheerful, right? And then they end it right as things start to get a little dark.
Right.
And it gets much more dark in the manga. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle it and if they handle it well. That's all I'm going to say. But so far, I think it's been pretty similar, but really good.
Yeah, so like I went into this 100% blind. I knew nothing of the series, not even like a general premise. And I was kind of pleasantly surprised how entertaining I found it. And like one thing I really liked is I could tell this story is from like the 2000. Like it felt such like a 2000 show. I was like, that's cool. It kind of gave me like a nostalgic trip in some sense of the way. And also like I keep finding it really cringy at time. Like when Soma says something cheesy and those girls at school like start accosting her or whatever happens. But like it's like 2000 cheesy. So for some reason I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I get you. Like it's even in the original, it's like even more 2000s cheesy than in this one. Like they toned it down slightly, but yeah, like her friends at school that like Toru's friends that have like the electric shock waves, and then like the other girl who's just like a tall delinquent girl with like blonde hair.
Them.
They're so good.
Delinquent. Oh, they're so fun.
Yeah, we didn't really say what it's about. It's like basically about this girl Toru who is like homeless, but then she gets taken in.
It's this girl Toru who's too stupid to live.
But she's so nice that she makes it anyway.
She's just like she's like, you know what I should do? I should live in a tent, which granted I would do, but not because I'm like it'll be fine, but because I'd be too damn stubborn to do anything else. Like then she almost dies. Then she gets taken in by a bunch of dudes, and they're like, cook for us, be a housewife.
And she's like, yay!
They're all actually animals from the Chinese zodiac, and when
and every time
a girl
she hugs
them, they turn into that creature.
Yeah, and but then oh fuck, guess what ends up happening? The whole manga, the whole anime, everyone's getting hugged all the fucking time. Because you know,
I would say more of everybody keeps falling into her or her into them.
Yeah, pretty much.
There's a lot of that.
Oh, there was
a lot like Ranma 1/2 or something. Like, oh no, the thing happened again. Like,
yeah,
what will we do?
There's a funny scene in the first episode that if you blink, you will actually miss it. But at the 2042 mark in the first episode, there's that guy, the guy in the tree.
The cat dude,
Yeah, the cat dude. Like
he's like
there
in the tree,
minute,
and that's before he like comes in through the roof and just
like he's not there 1 second, and then the camera turns and it comes back and he's there, but it turns away real quick. I was like, oh geez.
Yeah, I really like sight gags like that, and I wasn't sure about this going in because like the director is relatively new. He did like Attack on Titan Junior High, like the little cute Attack on Titan show, and he like co-directed Fooly Cooly Progressive, but like besides that, not so much stuff. So yeah, but I'm enjoying it a lot so far. So happy to see that it's getting a decent remake that people can get behind.
I'm just like, finally they'll finish the fucking story instead of making me read the manga. This was like the ultimate manga bait back in the day. Everyone was furious. They're like, how dare you leave us hanging?
Oh yeah. I could see that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, we have a couple short shows on High Dive. That are like half runtime. First one we got Ao-chan Can't Study, which is based on a manga from Studio Silver Link, and director Keisuke Inoue.
It's actually on Crunchyroll also.
Oh yeah, it is now. Yeah, I think some of these I haven't updated, but
yeah, no, it's funny. Everything I was going to watch on High Dive was also on Crunchyroll, so I was like, "Why the fuck am I going to use High Dive this season?"
Yeah, it's been weird, especially since Crunchyroll and Funimation like split up again. Like Funimation has a ton of shows this season, which they hadn't had for like over a year. This many shows, I feel like.
Well, ever since Verve bought High Dive too, I'm like, why don't you just merge them all? Why are you making them separate companies even with their own streaming platforms anymore?
They all have their own markets that they're trying to do. Like, High Dive is like Sentai's like arm in the US, and like, Funimation has the dubs
by Verve, and they both end up on the same streaming platform in the end. And they have duplicate streams on the same streaming platform because Verve owns both of them.
Yeah,
which is confusing and weird. And I'm just like, why don't you just merge it all into that?
It is weird. I agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, this show is directed by Keisuke Inoue, who was like a first-time director, but they were episode director on Mitsuboshi Colors and Chivalry of a Failed Knight, which is an ecchi show I really liked. But yeah, I honestly find this show really fucking funny. But I've also talked to a lot of people who find it like kind of weird and disturbing because like it's based on this girl who's named Ao-chan because her father writes like hentai, basically.
He's a very famous hentai author.
Very famous hentai ecchi author.
Don't they call the house like the House of Sin or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
And
okay.
Let me just say, he named the daughter like Ao-chan because she makes for her O face or something.
Oh, I thought it was like, oh, like the noise like a girl would make when she's getting like ravished.
It's basically like, the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what'd you have to say about this, Kat?
Okay, so I didn't really mind it that much. I thought it was actually well made. Mm-hmm. Like for the hentai shows this season, this one is the least objectionable and the most fun.
Oh yeah,
because there's a lot of hentai shows this season that I'm like, this is fucking stupid. This is dumb. This is annoying. I hate this. Like this one was not one of those. I don't mind it. It's a little repetitive. It's kind of, we've seen it before, but it's not bad.
Yeah. To this show's credit, to me, it's damn near the only comedy show this season.
Yeah, I mean, like, Bocchi is a comedy, but, like, I more consistently laugh at this show than probably anything else.
Same here.
Yeah. Okay. The dad, he looks like a little chibi dude. He's like the size of a bean. He's like a little bean. And, like, I hate/loved the characterization of him. The first time you meet him, she's coming home like to her house, and he's on the floor like kicking up a tantrum. And at first I was like, is that her younger brother? And then I was like, no,
with a mustache,
that's her fucking father. and he's like, I want titty pudding, and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
I will be honest, when I watch this show, I cannot stop but imagine that her father is our friend and listener, Chibi Rob. And this show gets so much better because I just imagine that's him instead.
Chibi Rob just spit out something he was really drinking at this moment as he's listening.
Yeah, he is. So the other thing I really like is Ao-chan, like, basically hates men because, like, probably of her interactions with her father for the most part.
She thinks she hates men, but she's like so in love with that, whatever that dude's name is. Yeah, she's so in love.
So she meets there's this guy at school who is just like perfect white knight, like the nicest guy ever to her, but she like suspects him of being like, a horny bastard.
Pervy and all that. Because I mean, that's all she's ever seen in her house is a bunch of pervy assholes. So of course she thinks that. And like her dad is always, okay, first of all, he made his daughter make him a tit, like shaped pudding.
Yes.
Like it's literally a tit. Like that she has to put in front of him. You don't do that. You don't make your daughter make a tit. Like, how dare you?
And he like shows up at school and like tries, because like the guy's in like the nurse's office or something, and like he tries to like hook them up together.
He like takes a fishing wire and like pulls her shirt up or something.
Yeah. Oh my
and
God.
like is in the corner like, you can have sex, it's possible. And I'm like, you're a fucking weirdo. Get the fuck out of the high school. You should be banned. Like,
I understand why a ton of people feel this is like really cringy, but it also just reminds me of like the movie like Meet the Fockers, when like, who's in it? God, Dennis Hoffman or something. Dustin Hoffman is like just like those like really open like parents who are open about their sex lives with their children. Like those are what's his name? Oh God, Ben Stiller's dad in that movie. His parents. Like, so like this guy like kind of reminds me of like those types of parents that are like way too open about their sex lives with their children, to hilarious
or like
effects.
the goofy like thing that was going around for a while.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like your dad doesn't have sex. Your dad fucks.
Whose dad were you saying? Bcom?
Oh, you've not seen that? I'll show you a meme that'll make you cringe later, Leo. We'll share it on the Discord so everyone can see if they want to be so disturbed.
Oh boy!
All right, well, let's keep moving.
I would say if you like that kind of thing, it's just a short. It's only 12 minutes. It's entertaining. It's funny. I approve of it. It's just a little bit of cuteness and perviness in your day.
And speaking of cuteness and perviness, the next show, Senryu Girl or Senryu Shoujo, is also based on a 4-koma manga by Studio Connect. And this is like another short, like cute show.
I didn't see this one either because the premise sounded awful to me.
So
it doesn't translate well, in my opinion.
I think I actually just watched like the 4th episode, like the day before we recorded this. And it was like that episode where things started to kind of click with me. Because like before that, it's basically based on this girl who doesn't speak and instead like writes all of her, like she writes poems on like a vertical piece of paper in like a 575 format, or basically that explain like her thoughts. And so like whenever she wants to communicate with somebody, she like raises up this like piece of paper out of nowhere, or like this placard.
Sounds so annoying to me.
It is kind of annoying at first.
Like I would just be frustrated with her. Like just fucking talk.
Imagine if that was
unless
the
you
case.
Literally can't talk, then that's fine. But
but then learn sign language. But like, don't just hold up. But yeah, and honestly, like because it's a poem and it's in Japanese, I feel like if you spoke it, it would probably be better. But like because we don't, it probably translates much differently, and we lose half the joke. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, probably.
Because I mean, it doesn't like have the format in the translation anymore. It probably says something slightly different. Like we don't even get the original like laugh part of it, I think. So
yeah, kind of. I think the main thing this show has going for it is the main girl is very cute. She has really cute eyes and she's like a really expressive, smiley face.
She's a moe girl.
Yeah, she's a moe girl.
There's a billion of them.
I know, but she's a good one. She's a good one. All right.
Watch the harem show. You'll have a bunch more. You can watch them all at the same time.
But she's very sweet. I don't know. It's enjoyable. It's another like low investment type show, which I would say you might enjoy. So you might want to just check it out.
It's okay. Like it. I will say that when you die, Bcom, I think I'm going to get plushies of all of the different moe girls that you have loved in your life.
Oh my God, that's going to be a lot.
And I'm going to just pile them on top of you one by one. And like, you know how sometimes in the burial ritual, like everyone takes a stone and like puts it on top of the person? Everyone will have an individual plushie to like come put on you. That'll be, it'll just be very solemn as you're buried in moe girls.
Problem is you're going to have like 6,000 people at my funeral.
I mean, we'll make it happen. If we have to hire them, like in Carole Tuesday.
What are you talking about, guys? We're going to be the #1 anime podcast before any of us die. And
we're going to invite all of our fans.
So many crazy followers.
We'll be like, Bcom finally died. Bring a moe plushie. We're going to bury him in style. It'll be like Carole Tuesday, except we won't have to actually pay everyone.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about that later.
Wow.
All right, so, but what we can talk about, a continuing show in spring, is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5, Golden Wind.
Yes! Okay, I've been waiting so long for you guys to catch up to watch this.
Yeah, okay. I wrote very, very short synopsis.
Yeah, your synopsis is good. Yeah.
So let me pound the episode 25 out, then we'll talk about it, then we'll do 26. So in episode 25, it is called Spicy Lady. So Trish basically gets her stand fleshed out. Her stand it's Spice Girl. We're gonna go by the real names here. Has the ability to like make anything act like rubber or just become like really soft, even to the point that like Trish can pass through it, or like it can like warp around her like that seat does.
Did you find this slightly insulting? Because isn't she the only female like stand user so far ever?
All the guys have guy band name, so I mean it just
No, I mean that her ability
is, like,
is
super
to make
soft.
things soft, and she's the only woman. Like, women make things soft.
So at first I did feel that way, but then like they have that line in like the middle of the episode, like when she starts using it, where it's like you have to make things soft, like to make them hard or something. Like I don't know, I couldn't remember what the line was, but it was really
But
like
her
she's such a
stand-
badass with this stand.
yeah, her
though.
stand
Oh, she
is such
is
a
a
badass
badass.
that
I
like
like
I
her.
did
I
not
just
take
thought it
that
was
as an
funny.
insult at all. It was like
Yeah.
fantastic. Her stand is also a little bit more intelligent one. Only very few stands can actually converse with their people. So
Yeah.
that's really, really interesting and awesome. And
Her
she does
stand's
eventually.
like, I've always been with you, blah, blah, blah. But now that you're
Yeah.
like determined, because like JoJo stands are basically based on like the user's determination. And so now that she's like decided to like stand up for herself by grabbing onto Giorno's like hand or his button or whatever.
Yeah. She eventually defeats Notorious B.I.G., who is like got in the engine, is like sucking the energy from it and like takes the plane down. But she disconnects the nose of the plane. But then there's like a little piece stuck to what's his name? Long hair guy.
Moody Blues, Abakio.
Yeah, to him, and like they get it off him and drop it into the ocean. So now Notorious B.I.G. is like stuck in the ocean and it's just constantly like attacking the currents in the water. And it's kind of funny. It's like attacking ships and stuff like that. It like becomes like an urban legend of the sea.
I love that part because he just basically becomes like the Loch Ness monster.
But that makes me wonder: is he going to be alive all the way until the end of the Earth?
Because
Yeah, he's a
'Cause
stand.
He sounds
Yeah.
like he can't, his stand user is dead, but he's alive.
Well, but he's not even a living
don't-
being, so he can't die.
Yeah.
So he's just gonna be stuck like that forever. Like, oh, over there, there's something moving. It's a wave. Over there, and just forever, just going in circles.
the only like slight complaint I had about the first episode was that, of course, like, you know, BIG only attacks things that are moving quickly. But like it totally ignores the fact that like Trish is like talking to her stand and moving her lips like really quickly all the time, and I'm just like, okay, this is just they have to.
Well,
do,
and
you have
so
to
is her
talk
stand.
somehow. Yeah,
And so is her stand, and we know Notorious B.I.G. does attack stands also. So yeah, you're right.
yeah,
on
that
that
was
part.
like a little whatever. It was fine. Otherwise, I really liked that episode a lot.
Guys, ready to move on to the next one?
Yeah, 26.
So episode 26 is a little story from the past. My name is Doppio. I know that name makes me laugh.
Because you think you're like dope.
Yeah.
He's a dope.
Doppio. It's like instead of calling somebody Dopey, they just give them the nickname Doppio instead, just trying to be funny. What's that mean in Italian, by the way,
It
Bcom?
means double, which makes a lot of sense.
Oh, okay. Perfect sense. So a guy named Doppio was mysteriously born from a woman in an all-women's prison. Literally, she was not pregnant earlier that day and then just suddenly became pregnant and gave birth. That baby was given to a priest to raise. Doppio was also known as being a slow guy and eventually hooks up with like Trisha's mom. And then it turns out Doppio has a split personality and he is also the boss, the guy who controls King Crimson. Doppio believes he's working for the boss, and for some reason, he doesn't age at all. So that's probably something to do with King Crimson. When the boss's personality comes out, Doppio like physically changes also. He ends up going to Sardinia and goes to the spot in the photo and runs into Risotto, whose stand seems to be able to turn your blood into metal objects. Isn't he called Metallica?
I
believe
think
so.
that is because I looked up like information. I don't think they mention it this episode, but it is going to be called Metallica. Yeah.
Yeah. So like he can turn the blood into metal, like I said, and by metal I mean like razor blades and needles of a sort. And like at the very end, we see like Narantius stand scouting out the area, telling us that the crew has arrived. So, oh man, what'd you guys think?
I'm still wondering what the fuck is going on with Bucciarati, or whatever the fuck.
Oh, with his like zombiness.
Yeah, like that's what I'm waiting to figure out. Like that's for some reason I'm fixated on that. I'm like, what the fuck is up? Like,
So the thing I was super confused about was like, so Doppio goes and like talks to that fortune teller in the middle of the episode, and the fortune teller like grabs him and he's like, "Wait, your mother? Wait, you." he says all this weird stuff, and it made me think like he is like sort of his own father somehow, which is really weird. But then later in the episode, we get all this like split personality stuff where he's like calling himself on the phone and going like, hello,
dude. That's so fucking funny. He's making the ringing noise. He's going, he's like, do you hear that phone? Oh, and then Risotto's looking at him like, what the fuck?
And so, like, it seems like he has a split personality, and then he's talking to his other personality, who may be his dad? I don't know. It's confusing. I hope they sort of explain that a little bit better as we go on. But even if they don't, he's just such a weird and interesting character that he stood out for me a lot. I like him a lot.
I like that too. It was fun for sure.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, JoJo continues to roll on. It's really good. Cats, Bungo Stray Dogs season 3 from Bones. So, tell me about this.
I love Bungo Stray Dogs. It is one of my favorite series. I've watched it all. I'm currently forcing one of my friends to rewatch the entire thing with me.
That poor soul.
I adore this. It's the same quality as last season. They haven't even faltered at all. It's still
Bones.
Amazing.
Bones is usually pretty good.
You can't say that about many third seasons though. Usually they turn to shit. Like they didn't. It's the same quality, and that's something to say. Like I really wanted to cover it, but then I really sat down after watching the first few episodes because they launch right back into where they were in season 2. And I was just like, no one is going to understand what's going on unless they're already watching it.
Yeah.
And like you guys neither of you have seen it. And so I was like, okay, like I love this thing to death, but I don't want to subject you to watching something that you have no idea what's going on. And you're just like, what the fuck? Because it's not like you can just jump in.
Yeah, you gotta watch like 2 seasons in a movie.
2 seasons would be way too much to try to catch up on.
I watched the first half of season 1, and it was good. Or is all right, I thought.
But, you know, season 2 is where it gets amazing. Like, season 1 is fun, and it's all right. Season 2 is where, like, it got me. And I was like, this is the best show on the planet.
Okay.
Like,
interesting.
And you can't say that about many shows either, that it gets better in season 2.
Yeah. I think I will eventually watch this. The director is really good, too. Like, Takuya Igarashi. He directed the first 2 seasons also. I recently watched another show that he made in the early 2000s called Ashita no Naja, Tomorrow's Naja, which was very good. And he made like Soul Eater and stuff really good freaking director.
That makes sense that he made Soul Eater because I love that show and I love this show.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But all right. We can move on to Saturdays now. I gotta talk about this one. So Mix Meisei Story, which is
gotta talk about this one.
Yeah, this is on Funimation.
You need to because I haven't seen any of this shit. So go ahead, Bcom.
Yeah, it's Funimation. It's got a simuldub. It's the source is a manga by Mitsuru Adachi, who wrote other mangas such as Touch and like Cross Game, famous like baseball romance manga, like hugely popular in Japan. It's from Studio OLM and directed by Odahiro Watanabe, who did Tokyo Ghoul Re and Soul Buster, stuff like that. So, about a month ago, I started watching the 1985 anime Touch, which was based on that manga by Mitsuru Adachi. Cross Game is another anime, which is 50 episodes long, that is like a 10 for me. It's like one of my favorite anime of all time. It's just like a really cute but also like moving and emotional like baseball romance story. Mix, on the other hand, is set in the same like town like area as Touch, and it's set at the same like school and everything, and it's just like 20 years later basically. And so this show and this manga were very much made for fans of Touch to like continue on and be like, oh, we get like another Touch story and it's gonna like wrap around and like it's gonna involve like certain characters from the original manga and anime that was 100 episodes long. And so like a lot of people were asking the question like, can I watch this without having watched Touch? And so I had watched like 25 episodes of Touch before I went into this show. And then so I watched like the first minute of the first episode of Mix, and it just like completely spoils the end of Touch, like completely. And I'm like, fuck. And so, like, in that sense, it's not great to watch if you're ever going to watch Touch. And then the other sense is that they make all these references to Touch throughout the episode. Like, there's another dog who is exactly like the dog/mascot of Touch, and they name it Punch, which was the name of the dog in Touch. And they name it Punch because, like, they actually joke around that, like, she gets inspiration from, like, a mangaka who is Mitsuru Adachi, to just call it that, because, like, he wanted to call the dog Punch again.
So it's a nostalgia trip, basically.
It's a nostalgia trip, and, like, the dynamics between the main three characters are very similar, where in the original Touch, it was, like, two brothers who were both in love with this girl next door who they grew up with. Whereas here, it's a little bit more mysterious, because that's, like, the main draw, is this, like, how are these kids related to the people from the original show? It's not clear at first. There's two main boys who are brothers that were born on the same day, but are not twins. And there's obviously, like, a stepmother involved, or stepfather. And so, yeah, there's lots of shit going on that's just like, oh, we're hinting at some cool stuff that's going to come in the future. But I don't see any reason to watch this show if you haven't seen Touch. Because it's just not as good as Touch, first of all. Like, the characters aren't as interesting to me. And it just was really slow moving through the first couple episodes. And it was entirely reliant on making references to the original. So it's it's too bad. It was disappointing. I wanted this to be better, but it's really just a nostalgia trip, like we said.
So if you are already watching this, you know what it is, and you're going to watch it.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about picking it up, don't, because you have to watch Touch first.
Basically, yeah. But some people never learn.
Never learn! That's actually great.
Like, in We Never Learn, a Bokuben on Crunchyroll and Funimation. Japanese title is Bokutachi wa Benkyu ga Dekinai. The source is a manga. It's from Studio Silver and Arvo Animation, which are both, like, relatively new. And the director is Yoshiaki Iwasaki, who directed Love Hina, Zero no Tsukaima, and Last Period.
So this is the harem show of the season. There's one every season. It never fails.
Yeah, I'm not even entertained by this one at all.
I would say a lot of them fail.
I feel like this is like a carbon copy of, like,
fails to
all the harem shows I've seen before.
I know.
Yes.
I took one look at this show, and it just seemed so similar to Quintessential Quintuplets, which it
is very similar.
I still haven't finished watching that. I want to finish that.
Don't bother.
It's
waste
cute,
your time.
But, like, I don't know. I feel like the girls in that were cuter than the girls in this. But Kat, I also do like the tan girl in this.
I love the tan girl. Yeah. She's hot as fuck, and those tan lines got me staring and drooling. I mean, it's nothing special. It's just another harem show. If you know who you are, if you watch harems, you know who you are. Mm-hmm. If you're on the train, and I'm on the train, then you're gonna probably watch this because it's a decent harem.
Yeah.
If you're not on the train, then you're not on the train, and we're gonna wave to you as we go by. So.
And the guy is just, like, helping these girls study. What was his reasoning for helping them study in this? I don't even remember.
Oh, he like wants a scholarship, and the principal has promised that he'll give him the scholarship if he helps these girls pass. So one girl is a math special, like a genius, but she wants to study English.
Oh,
is it English or literature? I think it's literature.
Lit, yeah.
And the other one is a literature specialist. Like, she's a writing genius, but she wants to study, like, the stars eventually. So something with science.
Okay.
That requires her to do math. And they both suck at the thing they actually want to do, but they're determined to do it anyway, and they have, like, special reasons. And it's kind of touching. It's like, I want to determine my fate not based on what I'm good at, but what I want type of thing, which is inspiring.
Yeah.
And then the tan girl is just dumb, and, like, she wants to go swim because she's an Olympic contender, but, like, the only thing she's fucking good at is swimming and being a loud, obnoxious bitch. But I love her. You know, a fun, loud, obnoxious bitch. And so she's got to pass her shit. So it's the three of them and this like stereotypical dude who's just like, oh, I'm so smart and I have to teach these dumb bitches how to do things because without me, they'd all be doomed. Like, I really do think the reason that a lot of harems are set up this way, just like quintessential quintuplets last season, is because guys love to think of themselves as being like, I'm gonna help these ladies out. I'm so much smarter than them. Let me show you how it's done.
You're probably right. I'll give that one to you.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's an interesting little fantasy. Yeah.
So
it sounds fun. It sounds like fun. I haven't watched much of it. I watched 2 episodes and I was like, this is all right. It's fine.
I mean, I'm going to watch it. Is it groundbreaking? No.
Yeah.
It's just normal.
Let's talk about the next show then. This is Kono Oto Tomare, Sounds of Life, which is on Funimation and also has a simuldub. Yeah.
So, this show is so obvious, though. Like, it's that traditional, like, the club needs more members. Like, how are we going to continue the club? There's a thug guy who comes in and causes a ruckus, but he's actually a good guy. It's that. It is
that show. It totally is.
But I love that.
It was actually on my list to watch, but I saw Kat's note in here, and I was like, I'll pass.
So the thing that caught my attention about it is that the first episode is so incredibly overly dramatic with its setup.
Oh, it is.
Like
the police officers are like, who could have done this? And it's just like a bunch of destroyed like oto instruments, which are like traditional Japanese instruments, and you're just like, it's not that bad. Like, it's just property damage. It's not like there's a bloody scene of gore. Like, what do you want?
Well, I'm guessing kotos because they're like handmade and everything. I bet you they're really expensive. I don't know how much they would go for, but they're big and like, there's like these big flat stringed instruments like a zither or something. Yeah, they're interesting.
But for police officers to be like, oh my god, like you think there'd be bodies everywhere or something.
Well, it's just because like in Japan they care about their culture more than they actually care about the people probably. It's like, the great cultural icon of Japan has been destroyed. Let's pin it on this delinquent kid. His name's like Chika Kudo. He's the delinquent. And he wants to join the Kodo Club because his grandfather started the club at the school and then also became a Kodo maker and kind of like looked after Chika when he didn't have like parents or anybody else to look after him. So, but like it's so dramatic because like the shop, his grandfather's shop got ransacked by thugs who like were pinning it on the kid, and then his grandfather like died a few days later too. Like, so it's just piling on.
I know, and I'm like, how did he die from that? Like, what? That
well, he
makes
didn't
no
die
sense
from
to
that.
me.
He was like ill before, they said, or something, and like he even meets his grandfather in like the hospital, and his grandfather's like, I know it wasn't you. And,
well, but it just was like, how convenient that he dies, so then he gets blamed for it. Like, what, did he just die of a heart attack from his instruments being destroyed, I guess? I don't know.
Maybe.
But yeah, I mean, it's a good show, and I'll be watching it, and I think Bcom will too. I don't know if it's good enough for us to cover, but if you like the club type shows and like the traditional like Japanese type shows, like, the archery one, if you followed that one, then you'll probably like this one. It's that kind of thing.
Very importantly, in the second episode, a girl with long black hair and purple eyes gets introduced.
Oh,
very important.
She's fun. She's fun because she's like, I'm so nice and proper, and then she like has an alternate personality.
Yeah, she was just putting on a front because like she thought there were upperclassmen girls still in the club. When she finds out it's just these two guys, she's just like, oh, I'm gonna be myself, and herself is like this real arrogant bitch.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because she comes from this like long family of Koto players, like this school of Koto players, and she's like a prodigy, and she just wants to be in the club, so she has like a cute little story she can tell when she goes pro later about how she won nationals. And they're like, winning nationals? What the hell are you talking about? We're not that good. But anyway, what I like about her is that she has this like fiery personality, which is a good mix with Chika's fiery delinquent personality. And I like the way that they're going to bounce off each other. That's like the main draw of the show right now.
I'm just imagining them married with a child in 10 years or something.
Oh, God, yeah.
Just them screaming at each other and then
and then having angry sex.
So is there anything in this show you guys think I would really like?
No.
No, it's not your show, Leo.
Okay, I didn't think so.
It would have been like Run with the Wind. We would have been excitedly talking about it, and you would have been in the background being like, why are we watching this?
Well, selfishly, I want to watch it just for to learn about the Koto. But like, I don't know if I would make you guys like watch it just for that reason.
You can do that on your own.
We'll see. We'll see, Leo. We'll see what the options are at the end of the day. But the other weird thing about this is like they're really fucking confident in this show. It already has a second season planned for fall. So
Yep.
It's a split core though. So it'll be like 12 episodes and then take a break during summer and then 12 episodes more in fall. But yeah, pretty cool. Okay. Speaking of confident shows, we got Fairy Gone, which is streaming on Funimation, has a simul-dub. It's an original anime from PA Works and director Kenichi Suzuki, who directed Drifters and Cells at Work, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Stardust Crusaders.
That's awesome.
The OP and ED of the show also are by the group No Name, who did the OPs and EDs for Soccer Quest and Grimgar, which I thought was cool. These were pretty good.
I feel like this show, and I know it's called Sirius the Jaeger, but I feel like that show doesn't deserve its name because it's a shit show. I'm going to refer to it forevermore as the Sparkle Pants Netflix show.
Yeah.
I feel like this show has a lot of resemblance to that show in that it's overproduced and doesn't have much of a actual like backbone plot. And so while I like parts of it, I'm a little concerned that it's just going to fall apart and dissolve at the end like Sirius did and just be like bleh, and just be like, what the fuck was this?
Yeah, you say that, but then you got to go back and look, you see it's Studio PA Works, and then it's a director who has, I've never seen Drifters, but has 2 decent shows under his belt. So that gives me a lot more hope than Sirius Jaeger did.
This is like a paper cup that's been painted with like very fine gold metallic paint, and everyone's like, ooh, it's so fancy. But then if you actually touch it and pick it up, you're like, oh, nothing.
I just like, yeah. Oh, yeah, Leo, you go. Sorry.
I was just going to say what the show's actually about. It's basically there was a war, and some humans got augmented with like this, a fairy's organ put into them, and then they could summon that fairy to like fight with them and stuff like that. And so like the war is over, so like these soldiers are trying to find jobs, and there's like one who's basically the bad guy. But then like there's the 2 main characters that we've seen so far are pretty cool, and they're just like fighting the other guy for the most part, and that's really the gist of it. But like there's so much fucking action in episode 1 and 2. I thought was amazing. I am not at all bothered by the CG
like the stands
fairies
they have,
stands that they summon, because to me, when they use CG in that sense, it just makes those things look otherworldly. Yeah, and I'm cool with that. I don't remember who, but they thought like when those like stands would fight, it was really quick for them. But I'm not too bothered by it, because to me it was just like still like another step into them being otherworldly. I mean, it could be cooler if they were slowed down a little bit. They are a little bit at times, but other times it's just literally just one like tackling the other, and it's a 1.2 second action that happens on the screen.
Sure. Yeah.
It's good. I just can't seem to care about the plot that much, and it just is giving me flashbacks, and I'm just worried that it's in the end it's not going to be much. But it has good action. It is really well produced. I will agree with you.
Yeah. It also has my favorite OP of the season.
Oh, your favorite? I think, was it Ao-chan Can't Study that has a really good OP? I can't remember. There's another short show that has a great OP this season.
I think that's right, because I remember starting that one and going, wow, a short has a decent OP?
Yeah, like, kind of surprising. It's just rare that happens.
Yeah. If they even bother
part of the
with
show
OPs sometimes.
Oh, sorry. What'd you say, Leo?
I said even if they bother with OPs sometimes. Sometimes they'll do like a 10-second OP, and that's like it.
Yeah, it's kind of low effort. Yeah, the part of the show that like reminded me so much of Sirius the Jaeger is that like it's these 2 girls who are young, and then they get separated because they have like special abilities, and it reminded me so much of Yuli and his older brother in fucking Sirius the Jaeger, and then they meet again when they're older, except like she's different now and darker, and it's just exactly the same thing, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh my gosh. See, I didn't even make that connection, but you're right. I'm worried that they're gonna let us down with that plot shit again, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of these animes just being like, ooh, look, aren't you excited to find out what happens? And then at the end, they just shit all over everything. And you're like, what was this? What was the point?
Yeah, again, going back to who the studio and the director is, I'm going to keep my hopes positive.
Like I'm positive, I'm optimistic for them because they have 24 episodes this time instead of like the 12 or 13 that Jaeger had. So maybe they'll actually explain shit. Because like Kat's complaints about Jaeger's like they didn't fucking explain anything at the end.
No, they didn't. They're just like, oh well, and that's the end. Bye.
Yeah.
But you're right. I shouldn't hold other shows against it. I shouldn't hold my past. My past hurts. I've been hurt before. I should start fresh.
Past trauma coming back.
Yeah. But I'm suspicious. So.
Well, we got another show that's like some similar shows from the past, but this one I liked a lot. It was Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba on Crunchyroll and Funimation, based on a manga from Shonen Jump. Studio is Ufotable, and the director is Haruo Sotozaki, who at Ufotable also directed the Tales of Zestiria series. Also notable, we got music by Yuki Kajira for this show, so pretty cool.
Yeah, this was the one where I thought it was like Sirius the Jaeger, because I felt like it was a generic start with like all his family being killed off except for the one of them who got turned into a demon, and I was just like, Sirius the Jaeger, anyone? That's how that one started.
Oh, you're not wrong.
It is a very typical like kind of shonen start to this thing. Honestly, the whole thing is kind of like I can feel the shonen beats to it, you know, as like this kid like he's so happy-go-lucky, and then he loses his family except for his little sister. The only thing I don't like about this show, by the way, is like that the sister turns into like this vampire monster, right? And then so she has to wear this like muzzle that she bites down on so she doesn't turn into a vampire, which means she can't ever talk. And so, like, there's all these guys on the internet who's like, oh, I love this girl. She can never talk. I'm like, fuck you.
Oh, my God.
It's just pissing me off.
But that's not good.
Yeah, like the main guy is cool. He's like Deku from My Hero Academia, basically, except he just wants to protect his sister more than anything else. And so he goes on a journey and he finds like a mentor who
not just protect his sister. He wants to turn her back into a human.
That's true.
Specifically,
that's the ultimate goal if he can do it.
Yeah. Well, I liked it. Actually, I like this better than the other one, than the Fairy Gone or whatever.
Yeah,
and I expected to like Fairy Gone better, but I like this one a lot better. First of all, the character designs on this are absolutely stunning.
They're really good.
I was shocked. Like, and not just the character design, but like the clothes are so pretty. I don't even know how to describe. I just like the aesthetics of the show. It's very nicely done.
It makes me think of the Ainu's clothing from
Golden Kamuy. Yeah, I was going to say the same, like that, like short but like flowing clothing. Yeah, it's really
But if Golden Kamuy had like 3 times the budget that it did.
Yes, basically, yeah.
Yes. And then I don't know, like I like the fact that it's got these serious elements of like his whole family dies. It's very depressing at times, but then it also has this weird comedy element to it. Did you guys catch that? Like, there's parts of it that you're just laughing too, and it's got this
like when she kicked off that dude's fucking head.
Yeah, like when she climbs into the basket, and he's like, "Could you be smaller?" And she has to like shrink.
Yeah, did she like physically shrink herself, or did she just like crunch herself?
I think she just positions herself, is what I got.
Okay.
Or when the guy, or when he runs up the hill, and he's like, "Oh, good, did I pass the test?" And he's like, "And now you must run up the hill." and he's like, "Fuck!" Like, oh no.
Yeah, so they're doing like the shonen training stuff, and it's pretty hype. And like, the thing that has me really interested is like the OP shows off all these like cool abilities and attacks he's gonna get. Where like he has this katana that's gonna be like sheathed in like water, and that just looks really cool. I will say one thing that this has over Fairy Gone is just like the color palette is so much brighter and like more exciting to me. Fairy
Fairy Gone's like
dull,
a very dark, dull thing to it.
Grainy, brown.
It's just so pretty. Everything is nice to look at.
I do have one theory though after watching it. So the Uro Kodaki guy who is like training the main character, he acts very suspicious to me. He doesn't take it off the mask when he's in the sun, and he's always completely covered in the sunlight. So I'm thinking he's one of the demons himself also. He's just managed to control it. Because if you watch that entire second episode, the mask comes off only when it's night, but then when it's in sunlight, he doesn't have an inch of skin exposed, which kills the demons.
Interesting. So maybe he's at least part demon, if not fully
or
demon.
Something. Yeah.
Or something.
But that would be cool because that could give the main character hope that he could save his sister someday as well.
Right.
So. I want to find out more about how they feed her. I'm excited. I like this anime.
It's fun.
She's not eating at all right now, right?
I know. Like, that can't go on forever. They're going to have to do something.
She's going to need some
It depends
blood.
on what the rules for the demons are.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's take a short break. We're about halfway through the shows. We will be right back after a word from our fellow podcasters.
All right. See you soon.
And here's another tasty morsel from the Trash Pandas Watch Anime podcast.
Some fan service.
Yeah. I mean, it worked pretty well in Dragon Ball. Do you remember those scenes with Bulma?
Bulma was running around in a bunny outfit for the longest time.
I know. Akira Toriyama.
We can get the Dragon Balls, and then we can make our wish. Bulma's panties.
Did Oolong wish for Bulma's panties, or did you just wish for a pair of panties?
I think it was just a pair of panties. I'm sure it's different in the Japanese than it is in the English dub. But, yeah, he just wished for panties. They're probably used.
As always, you can find us on Facebook and on Twitter at Trash Panda Anime. You can find us on our website, tpwapodcast.com. You can also find us on assorted sites like SoundCloud, Stitcher, and iTunes.
Hi, I'm JD, your host of the Red Leaf Retrocast, your best location to learn, remember, and relive the past to the present. Our podcast has 4 shows for you to listen to between retro gaming, modern gaming, anime, and even wrestling. The Retro Gaming Cast covers discussion topics, and each episode we discuss retro games picked based on a decided theme for that episode, ranging from space all the way to console specials like the old handheld Game Boy. Our Modern Gaming Cast is monthly and covers video game titles that were released in that previous month. Each anime cast, we focus to review a retro anime each and every episode, like the original Mobile Suit Gundam to the racing hit Initial D. But that's not all. We also keep up with the seasonal shows, by occasionally doing impressions and reviews as well. Finally, our last show is about wrestling, where we keep the rising indie scene up to date, while also covering shows from the bigger promotions like Ring of Honor, New Japan, and WWE, so we cover it all. We also cover a retired wrestler every episode in what we call the Wrestler Spotlight, and are currently on a quest covering old WCW Thunder episodes from the late 90s, every cast. So if any one of those casts sound like something you'd like to check out, that's the Red Leaf Retrocast, Gaming, Anime, and Wrestling, found at iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, and all your favorite podcasting sites. Also, you can learn, remember, and relive the past to the present. We can't wait to see you soon.
All right, we are back with Sunday shows, and
we got some really good shows lined up. Wait, these first 3 shows suck.
Just wait, you guys. All right.
All right, yeah. Well, we have some good stuff coming later, we promise, but we got to get through some garbage first.
But first, we got to get this shit out the way. Okay, let's shovel some trash.
Let me introduce this show, and I want to talk about like a situation that's going on, like a news story that's relevant, I feel. So on Sundays, we got this show called AFTERLOST, which is streaming on Funimation. It's also called Shometsu Toshi in Japanese. It's based on a mobile game, and it's from Studio Madhouse. And Madhouse has been in the news lately because they had a production assistant seeking compensation from them for unpaid overtime. And apparently, like, the details on this were, like, the assistant would work, like, 200 hours of overtime per month and would be made to work all day and even night on weekends or public holidays, and had collapsed due to overwork and was taken to the hospital. And so, yeah, shit is not great at Madhouse right now. She has to be selfishly worried for things like Chihaya Furu in the fall, and maybe
selfishly worried,
super selfishly worried, and like selfishly like hoping that they get things straightened out before then. And maybe that's why part of why they delayed that anime, because of things like this going on. But yeah, this show directed by Shigeyuki Miya, who did like Blood Lad and Bokura wa Mina Kawaiso. And the only other thing of note is that the main characters are voiced by Kanahana and Tomokazu Sugita, who are great, but they can't carry this shit.
No.
This show is just narratively an absolute mess and visually an absolute mess.
The animation quality is just trash, and then
so bad.
It's just so tedious already, and we're only on like 1 or 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So and like you're just they just keep baiting you with like, what happened in the arena? Why did the people disappear? Ooh, and you know it's not going to be interesting.
The show
like they're going to keep asking the question the whole series, and at the very end, it's not going to be anything interesting. You're going to be like, oh, that's it. That's what the end of this anime is going to be.
And they just keep doing really dumb stuff in the show. Like, they're trying to capture the girl alive, but she's on the back of the scooter, and they're throwing boulders at them. I'm like,
the motorcycle's like driving through these boulders.
It's not a motorcycle. Look, look.
A scooter, right?
And this was my big complaint. If you're going to make a scooter perform like a motorcycle, just make it a motherfucking motorcycle in the first place, dude. Like, this is the most souped up scooter I have ever seen. It's so bad.
Maybe the guy was on house arrest or whatever. Like, he couldn't get a motorcycle license. He could only get like the scooter.
So he stuck a motorcycle engine on a scooter?
Yeah, I mean, like, well, legally it's still a scooter. Legally, I don't need the license.
God, and like he's doing wheelies on the highway to like block the boulders.
Oh, God.
It's the dumbest thing.
The dumbest thing to me was the stupid monk thing that stands on the handlebars. Like, what, 3 times? I'm like, pick something else. You've done this already. I don't know.
It just seemed like the most generic, like trashy thing
it was
ever.
It was not good.
And it looked terrible. There were some zoom in shots that had me laughing my ass off at how like they were trying to be like cinematography like wise, like interesting, but they just came off like they had no idea what they were doing, and they looked hilariously bad. Like everything was out of proportion. There was like one that zoomed in on a bed, and it just like came at the screen, and it was like, oh, it's coming right for us. Holy shit! It was just so weird.
There's a couple scenes where the main guy is desperately doing his best Sasuke impression, where he's just like, she's just an object to me. She's just a thing I'm delivering, and like. The girl's just like, I'm shocked.
So you guys
like, runs away.
Remember me telling you about my friend who said they liked Shield Hero and whatnot?
Oh, yeah.
I have a feeling if I talk to them, they're going to be like, oh, I really like that Afterlost show of Funimation.
I don't even think he would like that. I think the reason he liked it is how shiny Shield Hero is. This has none of that shininess. It's not
but
pretty.
if he said that, I'd probably be like, we can't be friends anymore.
All right, let's move on to another fantastic show with a 12.25-minute runtime on High Dive called Why the Hell Are You Here, Teacher? Or Nande Koko ni Sensei ga, from a manga studio, Tier Studio. They did like the Royal Tudor movie, I guess, and director Hiraku Kaneko and Toshikatsu Tokuro, who between them have done things like Valkyrie Drive Mermaid, great show, Seikon no Quasar, and This High School Life of a Fudanshi, as well as Surizuri Children, which was actually pretty good.
Surizuri Children was... We really liked that one.
Yeah.
But, okay, this is just a porn that they're not making a porn.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why don't they just make this into a porn?
I feel like they're just expecting money from the uncensored Blu-ray sales.
Yeah.
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 Like, because I just kept waiting for like actual sex to happen. Because I was like, this is obviously just this is just a hentai, like the part before they fuck. But that's all it is.
It's basically just a student who keeps getting thrown into sexy situations with his teacher. But like the first episode, like he's just trapped in like a bathroom stall with her. And like I think he pees on her.
The first episode is like water sports and anal.
Yep.
That's all it is. It's like first she just pees in front of him and he's like, that turned me on. And then later in the episode he has to like stick one of those suppositories up her ass, which for fuck's sake, how many anime are gonna do this thing?
Oh, I like this trend.
Why is it so sexy to shove this up her ass? Like there's so many other things you could do to be sexy.
Watching this, I'm just like waiting for the moment where she trips and falls on his dick. You know, I'm just waiting on it.
That would be the crown of anime if that actually happened, that scene. And then the girl's just like, well, I guess it just happened.
So I understand why people complain about like the censorship because it's annoying and it's in your face and dumb. But also, like, is there anybody out there who's kind of like me who kind of likes when things are censored? Because, like, you can't see everything and you kind of imagine what's there. And like,
that's because you're a kinky motherfucker,
I guess so.
To me, it depends on how they censor it. Like, if they do it in, like, a creative way, then I'm kind of like, okay, that's kind of cool. But, like, this one, they're just flat out putting a censor up of her face.
Of her face?
And I'm just like, God damn it.
It's so, like, blatantly dumb. Anyway, that's a fun, stupid, ecchi thing. That's about it. It's a short, so you'll watch it when it's out on Uncensored. We know you will, so let's just move on. To one of the shows that I had the highest expectations for this season. Thought it could be one of the greatest anime of all time, but apparently it's not. Cinderella Nine.
Sarcastic.
I actually thought this might be fun. It's on Crunchyroll. It's based on a mobile game from TMS Entertainment, the studio who's making it. The director did like Dies Irae. I should have known it was going to be bad at that point.
And red flag.
So, okay, I'm sad this show didn't give me what I really want for it. It's about girls who play baseball, right? But instead of being like cool and like, oh, these girls are like badass and awesome, it's more like Love Live meets baseball, where the girls start off like pretty inept, and they kind of like poke fun at how they are like really bad.
Is it like the girl throws the ball and it's like she's like and it like barely moves and then they just all kind of go wah wah? Is it that?
Yeah, so there's one girl in particular who's really short and she's always in a kigurumi that has like little animal ears. And she literally like throws the ball like 3 inches every time she throws it. It's really bad.
Does she make the noise?
Yes, she makes the noise. Yeah. Of course she does. Okay. So I gave the show like the benefit of the doubt for the first episode because like I've seen a lot of new baseball players over the course of like my life playing baseball. So like there's like a blonde girl who's like actually pretty athletic. She's played other sports. And like, but like the first time she takes an at bat in baseball, she gets a hit and then like she starts running with the bat in her hand. And I was like, oh, I've totally seen people do that when they first started playing because they don't know to drop the bat, which is really funny. They just don't know what to do with the bat. And so like, also they had like a sort of overturning of the girls can't throw trope at one point with this blonde girl because she's throwing very awkwardly to start off. And then another one of the more experienced players asks her, like, oh, are you actually left-handed? And she's like, yeah, but I don't... And she's like, oh, I have a left-handed glove for you to use, like, which is, by the way, surprising that they would just have that. But they do. And so, like, once she throws with her left arm, she can actually throw really well. And she's, like, way more athletic-looking that way. So that was cool. Because girls can throw really well. There are some fucking girls out there who are great at baseball.
You ever seen women's fast pitch? That's pretty amazing.
Oh, yeah. And, like, I think a lot of people have seen that old movie, like, A League of Their Own, which is about, like, the women's professional baseball league during, like, World War II, when, like, all the men were off fighting the war, basically.
Cat's never seen it.
It's a great movie. Tom Hanks is in it. He's fun. There's no crying in baseball. It's a good movie. Gina Davis is great. But yeah, it's not really like that movie. It's just more like Love Live baseball, like building the team. These cute girls are all going to play baseball and like reach their dreams together kind of thing. And it's just honestly one of the biggest drawbacks. It just looks bad. It just looks really bad. Like visually, like the animation is not up to par. I'll probably just keep watching it because like it's baseball and moe girls. Those are two things that I love.
Yeah, we know that.
But it's not a good show. And that's
Okay.
I hate that I'm saying that.
Next show.
Okay. Midnight Occult Civil Servants on Crunchyroll.
Yay, a good one. Okay.
Let me just say, so it's based on a manga, Studio Leiden Films, and the director is Tetsuya Watanabe, who made like Schwartz's Marken and some 2000 shows that no one's heard of, like Rumble Hearts and Strange Strategic Armored Infantry.
Yeah, basically the show is for the most part pretty boys solving ghost shit, and it's actually still kind of entertaining. I wouldn't say it's anything to write home about, but this is a weak season, man.
Yeah,
it's basically based on. I actually watched probably more of it than you two did because it's pretty boys.
I just did the first two episodes.
Oh, okay. The main guy is supposed to have this thing called like sand ears or something, and it's supposed to mean that he can speak the language of any supernatural like thing that they come across. He can speak their language, and no one else can speak it, so he can talk to them basically and solve disputes.
Yeah, he diffuses a feud in like the second episode, doesn't he? Between the angels and the
Tengu.
Tengu, yeah.
And there's gonna be mysteries, and he's gonna talk to a whole bunch of different creatures, and they're gonna be hot, and that's just that's what it is. It's not super greatly animated, but it's not badly animated either. It's just average, but it's good. It's entertaining.
Yeah, I only watched the first episode, but I guess the main drawback to me was that I just like wasn't like super intrigued by the three main guys yet. Like there's the one guy who's like super effeminate, and they like almost call him a girl in the first episode. And he's like, "No, I'm a guy." And then
I was actually confused. I didn't know if it was a guy or girl until they finally said it. I was like, "What is going on here?"
I did like that the one dude basically uses him to break up with his girlfriend.
Yeah,
he gets tired of.
This is my new girlfriend.
God. And
he's like, "Stop doing it! I get people outside my door."
And like, yeah, like the stuff in the first episode with like the angels and the Tengu is like, oh, he's like saving them, and he understands that like they're actually like in love when nobody else can understand them. So
I did think to myself though, because the angel is like double the size of a Tengu guy.
See, I
I'm
actually
like,
liked that.
Well, I was like, how does that work,
too.
though? Like, how do they fuck?
Death by
like,
snoo snoo. That's how it works.
Does she just sit there and is like, is it in?
Say your prayers. I was actually like, that was like one of the parts of the episode that actually had me like really like laughing and entertained, was just like the size differential. It was cool. And like the women have like these deep voices too, kind of sometimes. So like, yeah, it's really cool. But I don't know. Yeah, it's just like, your everyday like yokai kind of show. It's good.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. We are also continuing with Dororo on Amazon Prime. This is like one of the only shows I think Amazon has this season. Like, I think it's the only one.
It's the last one.
I'm getting ready to say I think it is the only one.
This is when Amazon stopped buying licenses. So like, this is the last one because it's a holdover from last season.
No, guys, there's actually one more. Karakuri Circus.
Oh, is it still going? Oh my god!
We could still be watching it.
Could you imagine how shitty it is now? We should watch like episode 50 or something just to see how bad it's gone. Like what depths of hell they're in.
Oh my god!
Man.
Yeah, I'm looking at my list that I've written out, and there is no other Amazon show except for the Karakuri Circus that you brought up.
As we speak, I'm looking. Karakuri. I'm trying to find it. I want to see what episode they're on.
I think it's still on my wish list. I mean, my watch list.
So,
yep, it's still there.
Oh my god. So Leo, do you want to tell? Oh wait, or Kat, did you find something?
No. Okay, so they're on episode 28. This Little Piggy is what it's called.
Oh my god.
Okay, so Just like JoJo, I have a pretty short synopsis. Okay,
I'm sorry. I need to read that. Faceless's plan to download himself into Masaru's head has succeeded. But a fierce struggle unfolds as his mind attempts to resist him. With the rocket's launch time drawing near, Masaru again engages Faceless in a duel.
Weird. So it's still all about Masaru. Like, they still completely forgot about, like, the other two. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Was Masaru the main kid, or was he the guy? Hold on. I don't remember now.
I don't remember either.
I don't even remember.
We'll look this up really quickly, because, like, if it's actually about Masaru, who is the kid again... Yeah, Narumi is the older guy, so it's about Masaru again. Okay.
So they went back to Masaru.
They did come back. All right. At least they did that. But still. Anyway.
Okay, Dororo. Episode 13, very short synopsis. Hikiyamaru's mom survived, and Daigo's land like finally got rain after they left. And then we just go to so basically there was a stone carver who made the most pleasant faces of Buddha. But because of war, people wanted like an angry face. And he could never do it. So to get back at them, the carver found like a cave behind a waterfall and a giant boulder and carved a giant Buddha statue into it. He never finished the face before he died, even though he tried many, many times. And then eventually a spirit possessed the statue and resurrected the carver to bring people to it. And then it would bring people there, and then the statue would cut off their faces, and because it's trying to find one for itself. Eventually, Hyakimaru and Dororo get tricked by the carver, who can like change their appearance and get drugged. Like they basically look into Dororo and can see his mother, and then they just transform into his mother.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, they get drugged.
Her mother.
Her mother. That's what I said, right? What did I say?
Oh, you said his mother.
I'm sorry, yeah, her mother.
We did call Dororo a he for like a million episodes, so.
Yeah, it is a trick. As you would assume, they eventually wake up and they start fighting. Eventually, Dororo convinces the carver what they're doing is wrong, and then they're like, kind of like, "Oh, why am I doing this? That doesn't make any sense anymore. This wasn't what I originally sought out." And then, like, the statue kills him/her, and then Hyakimaru destroys the statue, and the two go to like a hot spring where they find a map on the back of Dororo's back.
That was really interesting. So I really liked how Hyakimaru kind of like tricked that like magical Buddha statue into like hitting itself in the face with a big sword.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was like a cool way to take it down. I liked the whole setting of that battle because it's like by this big waterfall too. So you like hear like the pouring water, and like when he gets knocked down underneath and sees like the bodies of all these decapitated people with their like arms reaching up toward him, like the glowing purple. That was cool. It was really cool.
What's the purple mean?
I feel like it's like they're magically separated from their souls or something. That was like my take.
Well, like we know the red is demons and the green is like goddesses, I'm guessing. And then next episode we get like 2 more colors.
Okay.
So I'm just wondering what the colors actually specifically mean.
Yeah, I wasn't like 100% sure, but I also wasn't ready to go like full
like Google search and like ruin shit for yourself.
Well, yeah, that. And I was thinking of the show we just finished watching last season that was like from the Komodo Friends director with all the colors. Oh my god, I've already forgotten.
Kumikusa?
Yeah, Kumikusa.
Oh.
I was like, we gotta like develop like a color theory now.
Well, in the end, that didn't really matter. Well, maybe it did. It did a little bit. Yeah, but not as much as like it could have been, I guess, so to say.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, so tell us more about episode 14.
So episode 14, the two find out a burnt down like temple, and they find out from a strange-eyed lord who has like a red aura like around him, not his whole aura, just like outlining it. And this temple used to be like a nunnery who took in orphans, but like the nuns like abused them and worked them to almost near death, and then eventually sold them. And he says it got burnt down from a lightning strike one night, but the two are very skeptical because they found oil at the scene, like somebody had set it on fire on purpose. They go to sleep that night and they get attacked by like a caterpillar monster, and eventually like it has to like flee because it's no match for Hyakimaru and screams, and then basically Mothra shows up.
Yeah, literally.
And like hits them with it's like pixie dust and whatever, and like flies away. And then the monster transforms into a woman and goes back to that same lord. And the lord vows to protect her and her children for his land and his people. So it's kind of another Daigo situation. And I left out what you noted.
Yeah, so there's this interesting stuff about at the beginning when like Biwamaru is hanging out with like Hyakimaru and Dororo at like hot springs, basically, or like leaving them. And he's telling them like, basically, Dororo, you have more options now. Now that you've discovered, like, you have this map on your back, and you remembered that, like, when you were little, your mother showed you that, like, your father had, like, put, like, the other half of his map on the mother's back, and, like, she made Dororo remember it. Basically, somehow the Wandering Priest knows that, like, this is, like, a powerful thing. And so if Dororo chooses to pursue this, like, information or this path, like, they might be able to, like, change the world in interesting ways. But the other option is they could also just follow Hyakimaru and destroy Daigo's land in order to recover Hyakimaru's body.
We also, from a flashback, we know that it's a map to the treasures that Dororo's father got from all the samurai.
Yes.
So it's a huge amount of money.
Right.
That's what we know.
It's like Golden Kamui.
But not enough dick jokes.
Not nearly enough dick jokes. But
the point is, it's still going strong. It's still very interesting.
By the way, do you think Hyakimaru has grown his dick back yet?
No.
God.
I mean, it's a good question. Did Hyakimaru gain anything back these 2 episodes yet? I don't think so, right?
No, they haven't said.
So that was interesting.
I still wish that they let the like girl, his love interest, live a little bit longer so we can see him discover sex. That would have been fun. Like, well, it doesn't seem like he's gained anything back in this demon fight.
That
and then, like,
would be
later
the worst
that night,
saying at all, because did he have his voice at the time? Because otherwise he'd just be like,
Oh, God.
It would have been the worst.
That would have been a bit awkward, yeah.
that would have been funny.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to note, like, the new OP is really cool. It's by Asian Kung Fu Generation. And
I still like it. I think I like the other one better.
I like the other one better.
The other one's definitely better, but this felt like a kind of like a throwback Naruto OP, like those old Naruto Asian Kung Fu Generation OPs. I was like, oh, this sounds like that. And I enjoyed it because of that. The ED is really chill as well, but like it has these super blurry visuals, which I think are meant to be like a visual metaphor for like when Hyakimaru is probably going to get his eyesight back, but like it doesn't make for a really visually impressive ED when everything's just like blurry as hell. I actually kind of wonder if they'll change that ED when he gets his eyesight back, but we'll see. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. We've got a show called You Know, a Girl Who Chants Love at the Bound of This World from Funimation.
See, I did not see this one, so tell me about it.
It's based on like this really popular visual novel from I think the 90s, and it's from Studio Feel and director Tetsuo Hirakawa. It's first time directing. I feel like the first 30 seconds of this anime will determine whether you like it or not. Like, am I right, Leo? I'm pretty sure, because like there's this kid who's like on the roof of their school, and his teacher comes up to him. His teacher has like all of her cleavage out, and comes
like a strip club level.
Strip club level, yes. He comes and like stands over him, so like you immediately get like a huge panty shot. And I can't. What does he even say to her, Leo? I don't even remember. But he's like says some asshole.
No, my brain shut off as soon as this anime started.
I don't even remember because I watched this like weeks ago. But he says some really shitty thing, and just acts like an asshole for the entire rest of the episode. And
he's especially an asshole towards some other girl. Like, my best description of this show is slutty sci-fi time and dimension anime. And like, I just did not want to try to make sense of the sci-fi time and dimension shit, and just
so it's a badly done other slut show.
Yeah, it'll be a visual novel harem thing. Okay. It's not good.
And like the other girl he's shitty towards has like really pretty hair and big old boobs and whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that teacher just keeps popping up, and you're just like, that is not school regulation.
What is with the teacher fetish? I swear to God, like so many shows, like teacher fetishes or tutor fetishes.
It's true. It's so much role play going on, really, is what it is. Oh man, but yeah, I honestly, I think it speaks like that. I can't remember almost anything about it. Yeah,
I swear the weird like hentai shows go through like cycles in Japan, where it's like now all the rage is the teacher hentais, and then it'll change to something else in like 2 seasons.
Yeah. Okay, on Mondays, we've got RobiHachi from Funimation, which also has a simuldub. This is an original anime from Studio Comet, who's made things like School Rumble, Cute High Earth Defense Club Love. I mentioned that one because director Shinji Takamatsu also directed that, is also the director of a lot of Gintama, Grand Blue, and School Rumble.
I could see that. I could see this being the same director of Gintama.
Oh, absolutely. It even shares a bunch of voice actors, too.
Here's that teacher from that show we just talked
Leo
about.
has linked us a picture of the first scene of the episode where you get just like this huge panty shot.
First 30 seconds.
Oh, what a panty shot that is.
Well, look how slutty her outfit is, too.
I know.
It's
How
awful.
would you let a teacher wear fishnets?
Fishnet
That wouldn't
stockings.
happen. Come on.
Dumb. Yeah, so with RobiHachi, like Robbie, who's like the main character, is voiced by Kazuyo Nakai, who voices Hijikata Toshizo in Gintama, and like the bad guy Yang is voiced by Tomokazu Sugita, who voices Gintoki, who's like the main character of Gintama. So like there's a lot of crossover here. It feels like they kind of wanted to do a fun Gintama thing, but set in like a sci-fi place rather. Well, Gintama is kind of sci-fi, but like set in space, basically. Or like going between different planets.
That's what you get. So I got a huge space dandy feel from it instead.
It's very similar to that too, yeah.
Yeah, like it and I honestly did, because it's on the Hulu. Space dandy is. I rewatched the first and second episode.
Oh, nice.
And I do find this show one of the more entertaining shows of the season. I think it looks good.
It does look alright.
They have a lot of like subliminal porn, so it's like hentai stuff in it. Like
a little bit.
Like there's like they're talking about like tops, like who's the top and who's the bottoms. There's like
bottom
tentacles.
Wouldn't be anything without the top. The top can go anywhere without the bottom.
Yeah, because they have like this giant robot on their spaceship, which is like a Mazinger like knockoff. And yeah, Hachi, who is one of the guys, he's upset that he's the bottom half of the robot.
He's like, why am the bottom? They specifically kept saying bottom and like tops, which is hilarious. And then there's like the Mr. Yan guy who's like, after him saying he will have his way with Robbie after washing his body. It's like, what?
What the fuck? And then the octopus thing is pretty out, yeah.
And then in the second episode, there's the cabaret club. So come on.
Yeah, if you're used to like the rapid like pace like comedy of Gintama, where there's like a lot of like random jokes thrown in, this is very much similar to that.
And I honestly feel like if you enjoyed Space Dandy, you will probably enjoy it, because I did.
Though, like, the broad strokes are like Robbie is like, he comes from wealthy parents, but he's been down on his luck, in like every business venture he's had is like failed spectacularly badly. And so he's like sort of trying to figure out what he wants to do. And Hachi is just this guy who's really bored with life. He's very smart, but like he feels like he can predict everything that's ever going to happen to him.
Everything is so predictable.
Yeah. And so he hooks up with Robbie, and like they get on this spaceship as they're on the run from Yang, and go to have a more exciting life. And like the second episode, they end up on like Mars, and they're like, I've heard that Mars is populated with these like floppy octopus people. And Hachi's like, oh, that was like some bullshit sci-fi. Like that's not real. And they go to like a gas station, and there's like an octopus filling up the tank. And he's like, oh, well. And then you turn out like the octopus people are actually like humans in octopus clothing, because they're living this lie where they're like this big tourist
for tourism.
trap. Yeah, for tourism. Like they're like, oh, octopus people, very cool. It promotes tourism, apparently. It's ridiculous, because like I guess Mars got terraformed in this universe, and it's like worth shit for anything else besides tourism. It's kind of Las Vegas, basically. And so yeah, it's It's just that and more weird, awkward octopus cabaret jokes. It's fun, honestly. But it depends if you like this kind of comedy. It's not my favorite kind, but I still find it interesting. Yeah.
It's not, it doesn't have a lot of plot. It's mostly just from scene to scene, kind of.
I agree. Yeah.
But it is entertaining. Like, it's funny.
You could probably jump in at any episode of this and be like, oh, that was fun. Yeah, and not feel like you missed much.
It reminds me of that show with, like, the antisocial Gundam pilot. You know which one I'm talking about?
Tiramisu. Yes.
Yeah,
Space
it
Battleship
reminds me of Tiramisu, which I loved. So
yeah.
I only watched like the one episode of that one.
That was really good.
I just remember him. Wasn't it about him like eating in the cockpit every time?
Oh yeah.
It was just about like awkward things all the time. It was like it was good. If you like this, you should watch that because you will like it.
All right, let's move on to one that's next. Namuamidabutsu Utena doesn't even have like an English title. It's on High Dive. It's based on a mobile game, and the studio is Asahi Production, who made one of my least favorite shows all time, Panda Peace, but also things like Medaka Box. And the director, Akira Oguro, is a first-time director who storyboarded episode 17 of Evangelion somehow, and is still only a first-time director now. And also, the music is by Yoshiaki Fujisawa, who's really good. But that's about it.
Yeah, so this show is like, you know the Sword Boys show? What is that called?
Senjushi, or like the Thousand Musketeers swords or something.
Like, you know how they have a bunch... Yeah. They have a bunch of pretty boys, and they're supposed to personify something in history, but really they're there to look pretty. And then they do like a bunch of things that have nothing really to do with fighting, and then occasionally they like deign to fight something, but that's not really what the show is about. This is another one of those shows. So this is a bunch of pretty boys that are supposed to be Buddhas. They're supposed to they're supposed to be the different Buddhas, I guess, in like history of like Buddhism or something. Like I don't have the cultural context for this. I don't think anyone does. But they're just handsome boys in like those little monk robes, you know, with like different long hair. And they go around and do like silly things, and they live together in like a dorm. So in the first episode, they have to tell one of the Buddhas that his cooking sucks. And like most of the episode is about who is going to tell him who his cooking sucks. And then they finally have one of them tell him, and that's pretty much the whole show. And then the second one is like, we go to the zoo, and they like do a bunch of fun things at the zoo, and then there's like a slight dramatic thing that happens, but that's pretty much it.
That's so weird. Why are they making this? It's so weird.
It's okay. My theory is they make these shows because they know like 12-year-old girls will drool over these really pretty boys.
Okay.
And like, this is what I feel like every 12-year-old girl imagines she would do when she gets a boyfriend, right? Like, we'll go to the zoo. We'll do that. But like, they're too immature to really know what it is yet. So like, this is for them. They drool over these really pretty boys.
The question is this what you imagined when you were 12?
No, I already was well aware of what happened in the world when I was 12, but I had friends who imagined things like that. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
I remember one girl I was good friends with, and she was very geeky, and she had a huge crush on Yu-Gi-Oh! When we were both 12.
Oh, wow.
And I feel like this is what she would have imagined when she was 12. She would have loved this show. So that's what I think this is really for. But hey, if you liked Sword Boys, maybe you'll like this.
Yeah.
No judging.
If you like Sword Boys, and especially ones that are named Oda Nobunaga, you might like this next show.
No, you won't. No one will like this fucking show. This Nobunaga bullshit. Okay, go ahead.
Nobunaga teaches young bride on Crunchyroll. The Japanese title is Nobunaga Sensei no Osanazuma. It's from a manga from Studio 7 that does a lot of ecchi stuff. And the director is Tokihiro Sasaki, who did the second season of My Wife is the Student Council President, the amazing Osama game or King's Game, Homes of Kyoto, and Ojisanto Marshmallow. So basically, it's set in modern day where Oda Nobunaga is a teacher who just can't get a girlfriend. Like, one of his students promises, like, oh, sensei, if like you don't have a girlfriend by the time I graduate, like I'll take pity on you and date you. And he's like, oh, thank you so much.
You can tell by the OP that he's gonna have 4 potential brides by the fucking time this stupid thing's over.
His parents are pressuring him to find a wife to produce an heir.
Isn't he like 35 or something?
Yeah, he's 35.
And then this girl pops out of the sky and she's 15, and then they have a reveal where they're like
14
oh, wait,
by their standards.
Actually, she's 14. So she's 20 years younger than him. He could have had a kid when he was 15, and this could be his fucking daughter.
Oh god. And so like so basically she's like, oh, I'm here to be your wife, like I'm Oda Nobunaga's wife from way back in the day, like the original Oda Nobunaga. And he's like, oh, this is great. But also she needs to be 18 years old. And she's
she needs to be 16. He's very explicit about this in the second episode. He's like, you need to be 16 before I can marry you and fuck you.
Well, no,
you have to be 16 and married to be able to fuck. Otherwise, he has to wait until she's 18.
Yes.
Like, the show is so aware of how fucked up this is that, like, it makes it so much worse.
Well, it's like, okay, I once heard on the Rooster Teeth podcast that if you, like, make a vague reference to the legal age, and the person you're dating immediately knows what the legal age is in that state, like some random state that you mentioned, you should just never see them again, because that's a red flag.
That's a big red flag,
This show is like that. Like, the fact that they're so explicit with, like, you would have to be 16, and we would have to be married. Like, it's very explicit. It takes way too much time out of this 7-minute show to talk about this. Red flag.
And like, meanwhile, the girl in the second episode is like, but don't you find me attractive? And he's like, oh, don't worry, I find like blank-faced lollies in anime attractive all the time.
And she's like, super aggressive about trying to fuck him, constantly taking her clothes off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
if she could physically overpower him, she would.
Yeah, at one point she just like spreads her legs out like just ridiculously, like. And also, I find it disgusting that this 35-year-old teacher is making it very clear that he finds the students he teaches every day to be super attractive, and he super wants to fuck them.
Yeah, like, it's definitely like the Oda says himself. This anime has some ethical concerns.
Yep.
But yeah,
this is the most disgusting and blatant version of this I've ever seen. They've done a lot of shows like this. This is probably the most ridiculous case of this I've ever seen.
I also like this show for personal reasons because it like throws it in the face of a lot of the people who make arguments about like what age lollies are. Like, a lot of people will say like, oh, lollies are like 12 and under or even younger than that, and anything older than that is just not considered a lolly. Where, like, this girl is 14, and he's clearly talking about her as a lolly, because she is underage. I think 14 is probably, like, the upper edge of the spectrum, but it's what they always put their age at if they're not just, like, making up, like, an 800-year-old.
Can we stop discussing this?
I feel disgusted. Discussion is just making me have, like, disgusting goosebumps.
Yeah.
Like, technically it's not a lolly. Like, oh god.
I know. It's just I see it all the time, and I was like, oh, finally one anime that's gonna like I can throw in these people's faces and be like, no, this is what Japan thinks. But anyway. So let's move on. I think this next show Leo only watched Magmel of the Sea Blue, or the Blue Sea.
I tried, but we couldn't find it.
Yeah, it's not actually streaming anywhere, so I was like, oh, I'm going to skip this one. It's based on the manga. It's from Studio Pierrot Plus, who made like Tokyo Ghoul Re and Mahou Shoujo Ore, and
ooh, okay,
and director Hayato Date, who directed a bunch of episodes of Naruto and also Konbini Kareshi, which you and I watched half of.
He was all over the place with Naruto episodes. Mm-hmm. So basically, this show is I'm just going to read this my anime list real quick. One day in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, a miracle occurred. A new continent appeared out of nowhere. The new continent was the home for new and mysterious plants, creatures, and minerals. Humanity is excited as the age of exploration has returned. So basically, the main character, Inyoyu, he's like another one of your OP characters. And people request him to help save people or do something for him on the island. And like the island's like super, it's all like brand new creatures, plants, trees, everything's like all this like crazy mythical fantasy stuff. Oh, and he also has an assistant named Zero, who is a little lolly.
Of course.
But what I do like about the show is it's not afraid to kill people.
Okay.
It maybe it could be a little bit edgy, but I wasn't really bothered by it. It's actually very entertaining to watch. I think the action's okay. I think was that the first episode was really really cool because like this little kid wanted to save his brother because his brother and his two parents left one day to go down to find something teardrop to cure his illness, but only his brother came back. And then when he hired Inyu to go back to save his brother, who went back a second time with another team, you come to find out to get this teardrop, the plant only blooms on the corpses of dead bodies. And it turns out his older brother had killed his parents, then needed more people, came back, got that second team of his friends, brought them back and killed them also.
Huh, damn.
So it was really cool. And then like the second episode, like you meet this really hot character named Amelia who goes to save her father because their base is under attack by these mythical creatures, but that's because they have the mythical creatures' children. And they actually had those creatures because they could produce a material that was stronger than anything else, and that was the bolts they used to kill the parents. So like it's really fucked up crazy shit like that.
Interesting. I'll probably check it out at some point. But,
I thought it was an interesting watch, and like I said, if you can find it, check it out if you kind of like that stuff, because it's kind of like a moral thing so far, the first two episodes.
Yeah.
So, and again, I like OP characters. In Inyoyu, by the second episode, you find out he's something. First episode, maybe you find out he's something very special. So,
oh, cool.
That's that.
Very
yeah.
cool.
Well, speaking of anime where people love Amelia, let's move on to Tuesdays and Isekai Quartets. This is on Crunchyroll. It's a 12-minute short. It is an original anime from Studio Puyukai, which is a funny name, but they make lots of shorts for shows like Overlord and ReZero and Tanya the Evil and Kaiju Girls and stuff like that. The director of the show is Minoru Ashina, and they directed like all of the shorts I listed above, basically. So yeah, this show is the one that a lot of people are looking forward to because it brings together characters from ReZero, Konosuba, Overlord, and the Saga of Tanya the Evil. And they all are going to interact with each other, right? And like make for great comedy moments. Except in like the first episode, they don't at all. Because it's just like all setup. Because, well, in one regard, it's really funny because Konosuba and ReZero are two like super well-known shows. And like a lot of people watch Overlord too. But like a lot of people did not watch Tanya the Evil. So they spend like a lot of time like just explaining the plot of Tanya the Evil in this show, so people who didn't watch it can understand like who she is and what her deal is, which for me was kind of annoying because I watched Tanya the Eagle and Tanya the Eagle? No, that's a different show.
Tanya the Evil.
No, I watched Tanya the
We
Evil.
covered it, right?
And
Didn't we?
It was pretty fun.
I love Tanya the Evil. So yeah, that would make me sad if they're just trying to explain her all the time.
Three of us like it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they come out with season 2, we're going to fucking cover the shit out of that.
Mm-hmm. And so the other thing about this anime is that like I would be into it if it had, I think if they had done something really cool where say they have 12 episodes, say they had like directed each like set of 3 episodes in like an animation style of one of the shows. Like, so like at first it started off in the style of ReZero, in the ReZero world, and then they like got isekai'd into Yojo Senki, and then they went to Overlord, and then they finished off in Konosuba world or something. Like, that would be really cool. But instead it's just like this real like low effort chibi stuff, which is like what the studio's known for, but it doesn't look good. And I don't know, like it just feels really boring and low effort, especially for like how big some of these shows are. And
So
It's
you don't
cool
like
because it's a crossover, but it's not a great crossover.
yeah, and especially like I was saying with the first episode, like they barely crossed over at all. They do a little bit more as the show goes on, though, which is the thing.
So you don't like that your characters got isekai'd and then they got isekai'd into another isekai'd world?
Exhibit would be so proud of this anime. I put isekai in your isekai so you can enjoy isekai in another world. It's like
What happened to all the cooking shows? Where did all my fun cooking shows go?
Oh, there is none this season.
yeah,
You're
it's
right.
true, huh? Well,
How dare they?
Yeah, we'll get one eventually. And I think what happened was like they made the Fate cooking show, and everybody was like, "Holy shit, that was so good!" That it like raised the bar for future cooking shows. Probably
Maybe.
there'll be more Food Wars eventually, but I
Or
don't know.
like the one with the N. I really liked that one.
oh god, I forget what it was called, but I
The
liked that a
short
lot.
that Leo showed us. Yeah.
Yeah, I like
was
that
good.
too. Isekai Shokudo was good.
Yeah.
What show?
The short that you showed us where like they go to the inn and like they eat a new meal each time.
I can't remember what it's called now, but it was
Wow,
good.
Was this a while back?
Yeah, you were the one who showed it to us. It
Yeah.
was like they were in another world and they're like, "Wow, we've never had anything like this before." And, like they'd go back and
Damn it. I know what you're talking about. I
Yeah.
don't remember what it is. Yeah.
oh, it was good.
That one was good. So what's this next one? One Punch Man season 2?
Yeah, let's talk
Okay.
about this. So,
Just
One
say it.
Punch Man season 2, which is airing on Crunchyroll, right? No. Funimation? No. Netflix?
Hulu!
No, it's not on Netflix.
High
Amazon? No. It's on Hulu exclusively.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know.
What the fuck?
Because Hulu threw money at them like the godless slut it is. It's like, here, come to me. I got
Well,
all
they
the
hired
money.
the wrong studio to fucking do it.
Well, it's it's not okay. I did not think that a lot of people are angry about the jumping ahead. We all know what One Punch Man is. I don't think we have to explain that much.
Right.
A lot of people were especially angry about episode 2. I did not notice that it was that bad, except for that they skipped all the motion in the fight.
That
scenes.
was the
It
part.
it was
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's because it's supposed to be a super fast moving fight, but I didn't get that sense. They just showed us all these after images of like Saitama or Sonic and Genos's punches, and it just felt so like, oh, they could have done this so much better. Like this just felt like they gave up almost is how I felt. But I can see other people would be like, they wouldn't bat an eye at that. But I just like, compared to the first season, it feels like such a lower level of quality.
Oh, it does. I think I think the first season was so good that like it does. It hurts the second season because you watch it and you're like, this is not the same thing.
And it's not the same studio. It's not Madhouse. It's JC staff again. And it's not a lot of the same people who were working on the first season, though some people are back. But man, yeah, the animation is really suffering. But it's kind of the same funny tone where it's like they start off.
Hey,
oh what?
at least it didn't come back looking like AFTERLOST.
God, yeah, no, that would be a nightmare. See, it's like the thing is like, oh, did you want this to be at Madhouse? Because like you see what Madhouse is making this season. I don't know. No, like the guy who worked on the first season went and worked on Boogie Pop, so you get to go watch Boogie Pop, I guess.
You don't want to.
Yeah, I didn't think the first episode actually looked that bad in comparison with episode 2. And like it had the same kind of funny shenanigans. So like we're introduced to this hero named King, who is supposed to be like the top like S-class rank 7 hero, super strong, right? But it turns out no, he's actually not strong at all. He's just like really lucky, and people will always beat up things like when he's there.
I knew this from the manga.
And so like Saitama kind of like figures this out, and like he leaves Genos behind to fight like one of the organization's like machine gods, and instead like tracks King back to his apartment where he's like getting ready to play his new dating sim game that he just bought.
Yeah, and then he's like, I didn't mean to buy this. I meant to buy something else. He's like, well, it says on the thing. And he's like, oh.
And so Saitama's like, well, let's just play this game. So like they're just like playing games together like throughout the episode while Genos is trying to like wreck this like monster. And eventually the apartment gets like attacked by like some like flying like bird monster thing. And that's when Saitama realizes, like, oh, this guy isn't special at all.
And that actually looked kind of cool.
It was kind of cool. Like, Saitama's, like, holding this thing back with, like, one hand. And he's looking at King, who is, like, pissed his pants. And he's like, okay, you're not a hero, are you?
Obviously not, into this.
And, like, yeah, the end of the episode is just, like, Genos gets, like, an upgrade. And he's trying to take down this, like, rampant cyborg. And then there is two characters that get reintroduced, like Sonic, who is looking for Saitama to like fight him, and this girl named Hellish Blizzard is looking to find out more about him. And in the second episode, they pick up on that, but first they start with this guy named Garo, who shows up at the Heroes Association, and because
I think it's Garo.
Yeah, Garo. That's how Japanese pronounce it for sure.
Yeah.
I pronounce it in a shitty English way. I'm sorry. The Heroes Association is like overwhelmed by the amount of monster attacks, so they've decided to try and list like villains, basically, or like escaped convicts or like people from prison to like help just hunt down monsters. Like they'll pay them basically if they just do it. But yeah, Garo shows up and he's like, I'm going to challenge all of you to a duel, basically, or whatever, saying he's like on the side of the monsters and he wants to defeat the heroes. And so he kicks all of their asses like real easily. And then he's just like, I'll be back in 6 months and I'll be stronger. And so after that, we meet Hellish Blizzard, who shows up at Saitama's place. And she basically tries to like treat him like a newbie because he just made Class B. He's like rank 33 in Class B. And she's rank 1. And she's like, if you don't join my faction, like, I'm going to have my goons kick your ass. Obviously, this doesn't go well for her because, like, Saitama, like, punches the goons with one punch and they, like, fly off. And she realizes he's a little stronger than she thought.
Man, Kat, I need to teach Bcom how to do a condensed synopsis.
I know. I'm just like, does any of this matter? Like, it's one punch. They fucked up the animation.
Yeah.
Long story short, it could have been better. It's good still, and honestly, like, it's a shame because this One Punch always reminds me of My Hero Academia, but like older, like an older version of My Hero Academia.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And they kind of ruined it, and now it's not as fun, and like the hot characters aren't as hot anymore. Like girls really liked the show because Genos was really hot, and like.
Yeah.
The cute guy with the ponytail that they cut his ponytail off was really hot, and like now neither of them are as hot anymore.
I think like the only important thing we learned by the end of the episode is that Hellish Blizzard is like the little sister of Terrible Tornado.
Yep.
Yeah, we did learn that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. It's not great.
Basically, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still kind of like funny at times, but yeah, it doesn't have that animation to carry it. So unlike this next show, which has so much animation, on Wednesdays, the Helpful Fox Senko-san, Sewayaki Kitsune no Senko-san. The source is a web manga, and the studio is Doga Kobo. And the director is Tomoaki Koshida, who directed Token Rambu Hanamaru's second season, and worked on Achikochi and Kiss X Sis.
Oh.
Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? I would describe this as the next in Doga Kobu's line of playful pedophile shows.
Okay, but you're being a little harsh with
I don't
it.
think so.
Okay, this is escapism. This is like how everyone imagines that they want a wife, right?
I don't
they
want a 12-year-old wife.
From work. They want to come home from work. They want someone to have food ready for them and be like, "Oh, was your day hard? Let me feed you.
Yeah.
Let me like clean your ears and touch you and hug you and love you." This is what that is. I agree that they could have made her older so it isn't so weird. But really, it's not sexual. It's about being like, oh, someone's here to take care of me.
Practically orgasm in the first episode?
But it's not like that. It's not as explicit as you're saying. Come on. You're being a little harsh.
But this is what Dogakobo does with every show. They walk the line between it being overtly sexual and them being able to like say like, oh, it's not really though. It's right on that line. So and people can take it either way, basically.
What I learned from this show is I should just break up with my boyfriend and I should go find a wife to marry so that I can start coming home to someone cooking me dinner because I really liked that.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's what I learned.
I thought this had actually like a really similar setup to Dragon Maid, actually, because like the guy is overworked and then like a special like being from basically another dimension comes into his life and helps him with his like home life at home. It's just like how like Toru helps Kobayashi and Dragon Maid by like doing chores for her and like making her life easier and stuff. So I felt it's like that same like fantasy of having somebody at home to like help you with your crushing overworked life. But yeah, it's way too pedo-y at times for me. But anyway, that's about it. It's very well animated. Her tail is very cute. They spent a shitload of time animating it. And I was really annoyed at the end of episode 2 because at the end of every episode they do a first-person perspective scene where the audience can get their special time with Senko. And in episode 2, they do this ear cleaning
I'm
thing.
so glad I didn't fucking watch this.
Oh
I'm
my God.
so happy I did not watch this.
It's not as bad as he's acting like it is.
Totally
it's
is.
just like it's like, okay, watch as I like clean your ears out. It's not as sexual as you're acting like it is.
Okay, but I was super annoyed because there's like thousands of these videos on YouTube for like ASMR with like the Mimikaki like ear cleaning stuff. And she does it, and they didn't do like the audio. Like, if I am the first person's perspective, I should be hearing that in my ear when she's doing it. And they didn't do it, and I was like, you did not commit to this joke. God damn it.
For someone who hates this anime so much.
He has a lot to say, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, come on, Bcom. We all know what you really wanted. You wanted it to be a little bit better.
I just wanted the girl to be a little bit older. That's all. Anyway, Wise Man's Grandchild is the next show on Funimation, also known as Kenja no Mago. It's from a light novel, and the studio is Silver Length. Director Masafumi Tamura, who made the Ange Vierge, which had more onsen scenes than any anime to date. And yeah, it's... Leo, tell me about this Wise Man's Grandchild.
Oh man, so it's a isekai. Basically he's killed and gets reborn into this world as a child, but he's being raised by Merlin himself. And he basically learns magic from Merlin, but then also using his knowledge of the original world is from, like the science and stuff. Like he literally applies science to like when he uses the magic. So there's like one point he specifically shows this bunch of people basically a nuclear explosion because he knows it takes oxygen and so on to make an explosion really work. Mm-hmm. So like that's why he's able to like utilize magic and just one of the OP factions like ever in this world.
I don't understand why they didn't want these isekai shows. They don't just like make it so that just take out the element of being from another world. It would work the same. It would be.
No, he has to get hit by the van in the beginning, or else it's not a real isekai.
He's got to be killed by Truck-kun. I mean, that's how it all works. But the big appeal is that like then you can use your knowledge from your previous life in this one, and that's what makes the biggest difference in the world. Because then otherwise it would just be a regular fantasy novel. That's what sets fantasy apart from isekai.
Yeah.
For the most part. Yeah. So like I'm actually finding this one really entertaining.
Oh, cool. It's pretty fun, honestly, okay. But it's like very generic at the same time, but like it's enjoyable enough to watch for sure, I feel like.
I can also feel like I can definitely put my feet in the shoes of this character because I would also become obsessed with magic and sword training if I ended up in this exact same situation as him. Like that would just be like oh, I know I could just run it with my knowledge from this other world and just like have a blast. So like a ton of his choices, I'm just like, yep, that's what I do too. So like it just really grabs my attention in that way.
Oh, so it just like logically makes sense. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like, it's not bad. I liked it. It was okay. It's just the same. I feel like at this point they have a goose in the corner of some animation studio. They bring it out every season. They have it poop out another isekai egg.
The golden goose.
They crack it. Like the goose blushes lewdly as it lays the egg. You know, they're like, all right, done for the next season, and then they put the duck away or whatever. Like, it's just the same show. That's
Speaking of blushing lewdly as things come out of your butt, we have to move on to Thursday.
There you go.
Sarazanmai is on Crunchyroll. It is an original anime from Studio Mappa and Lappentrack. It is by director Kunihiko Ikuhara of Revolutionary Girl Utena, Mawaru Penguin Drum, and Yurikuma Arashi. Also Sailor Moon S, lots of other stuff.
I would like to say I know he likes his what's the word I'm looking for? It's about
queer anime?
No, not queer. It's well, I didn't make that connection yet, but I'm like his imagery.
Oh yeah.
And I felt like he took it too far this time.
The spraying butt juice was just too far for you.
Yeah, and it's also little boys. So
yeah, they're in middle school. Yeah, that's a little awkward.
The whole time watching this, I'm like eyeing my front door out of the corner of my eye, just like expecting the FBI to like blow it open any moment. It was just like so unsettling for me. It was really hard to watch. And like just all in all in the end, even if you guys lock this, I would really, really have to sit down and think about watching even more of it because I disliked it so much. It was so distracting from whatever he was trying to say. And like, I know like the kappa, that's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
That's literally what it did in the mythology is it sucked the souls out through your butthole.
Yep.
But which was fucked up anyways. But then when I don't know, I just putting the little boys in with it and I'm just like it's way too distracting for me from the story. And it was just like so much of the visuals. And like later on in the first episode, after they've all three gotten their souls sucked through their butts and turned into Kappa, they're diving into a monster's soul his butt, and pulling out another soul, and then pervert. They eat it. And I'm like, weird pervert. I'm like, what the fuck? Why did he choose this imagery? This is so fucking messed up. And it ruined the show for me so fucking bad.
Why does it always have to be some dude with a bag on his head? And why do they always have to be bent over as if they're taking it up the butt like the whole time?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I mean, obviously, Ikuhara is trying to say certain things with this show. Like, and some of them are slightly obvious. Like, all of the three main boys are carrying around these Amazon boxes that have their, like, hidden desires in them. And they are, like, these burdens that they are carrying with them that they don't want to show the world. And, like, one of them, the main character, Kazuki, like, wants to get closer to his little brother, and he does it by pretending to be an idol girl, basically, who exists in the real world separately.
Well, so far we've only seen stuff from Kazuki, because like the second thing we find out is about like how he stole the cat or whatever.
Yeah, that was weird. Well, we also find out that Enta, who is like used to be his friend on the soccer team and like wishes that Kazuki would like come back and play soccer with him. They were like the golden duo together. Like Enta has like romantic feelings for Kazuki as well.
Oh yeah, you find that out. He like kisses him and the cat's like, what?
But then yeah, there's Toy, who he wants to be closer to his older brother, and he wants to be like stereotypically like manly and cool and badass, and so he's like selling weed, and like this cat eats the weed and like runs around the fucking city.
This may be the only anime I've ever seen with weed explicitly in it.
That was pretty crazy.
It's kind of hilarious.
I couldn't watch the second episode. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
The
He has,
second
like, a
episode
whole
is
hothouse
like
of
way
weed.
toned down. So like I will say the first episode comes on hard with the butt stuff, like really hard. Second episode has toned that down quite a bit. There's still like the butt transformation, like Kappa sequence, but that's like the main part. And there's still like the deviant who they have to like take the butt stuff from, like their desire from at the end of the episode.
It's weird that like they hold up this marble that just says butt on it. And they like hold it up as if behold, and then he eats it. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like,
yeah,
it's the weirdest thing.
And then there's like these two guys who are police officers, but they work for this like otter god thing or something.
Oh my god. And like the whole dance they do,
Yes.
it's so bizarre.
That's what so everything about this anime is so bizarre, but I also feel like I get the undercurrent of emotion it's trying to go for about like connections between people and trying
Yeah,
to.
it does have good undercurrents.
Wait, what?
It does have good undercurrents,
yeah,
like
yeah,
the connections and stuff. Yeah.
And then like also just having to accept like your own desires and like who you truly are before you can make real connections with people, which is several of these kids are clearly struggling with coming out. And so yeah, like that's
various
there.
ways.
But there is a layer of butt stuff over everything that is like making it hard for some people to connect with, which I totally get.
There's real emotions here, but then there's also just bizarreness, which I kind of like in some ways. Like sometimes it's fun to just be bizarre.
The bizarreness is like taking away from me from this because it's like just so out there, and I'm like, I don't get how this relates.
Yeah.
What?
I would highly recommend to anybody who's interested in following this. Jacob Chapman, who works for Anime News Network, has been doing episode reviews for this that are like long essays and then there's like sections at the end that are broken up into different types of imagery that he's following through like the entire show. And those are fascinating to read. Jacob's been like deep in this and like other Ikuhara stuff for a while, so that's like a great resource for trying to keep up with the show as it goes on.
How deep would you say he is in this Bcom?
Balls deep. Fucking holy shit. But yeah, it's a fascinating show, but it is definitely not for everyone.
I would say he's deep enough. He's hitting the prostate.
Finding that desire
enjoyed this
bead.
in a weird way. It's bizarre and strange, but it's not like I'm not enjoying it.
Yeah, and it looks good. I think the ED is really cool, where it's like real life, but has like animated stuff over it. Same with the OP, has some of that stuff. It's cool, but bizarre. More bizarre than JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Bizarre. How about this last show of the season that's a gem?
Carole. Okay, this show is my shit. Carole Tuesday. It's on Netflix. Fuck it, we're watching it. Source is an original. Studio is Bones.
What? We're tired of Netflix taking all the good stuff. We're not gonna take it anymore. Fuck you, Netflix. Fuck you up the ass.
The chief.
We're taking it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I agree though. The Netflix just needs to get their shit together and simulcast things. God damn it. The chief director and original creator of this is Shinichiro Watanabe, who has made Cowboy Bebop, Kids on the Slope, Samurai Champloo, Space Dandy, and Terror Resonance. It's also directed by Motonobu Hori underneath him, who was an episode director on Beck and Paradise Kiss, and that may have just been for the first episode. I'm not sure, but I had that down. So I think he's just like sub-director on this. So this is one of the best premieres of the episode I've seen in a long time. I'm in love with basically everything about it. It's basically these two girls who live in a Mars that is some indeterminate time in the future, and it's been 50 years since they've colonized the planet, but we don't know exactly how far in the future it is. And they live in what is basically a Neo-Brooklyn outside of like a Neo-Manhattan / Los Angeles.
I thought that too. I was like, this seems like New York, except they're not calling it New York.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's even like a bridge that looks exactly like the Brooklyn Bridge in it, but like a futuristic one. So it's like they've just rebuilt New York on Mars. One of the main girls, Carole, is a skateboarding, Tim's wearing black girl who lives in a loft in Brooklyn. and she works at like shitty part-time jobs, like fast food, but like that.
I love the fast food where the guy's like, she's like, what would you like? And he's like, this and this and this and you. And she's like, this isn't that kind of restaurant.
Yeah. And she like gets him back by like putting some like spicy mustard or something in his sandwich.
Something.
Yeah,
Who knows
I actually
what
watched
was.
that scene twice, and it doesn't show anything what she did to it.
Yeah,
I know. I was like,
she
what
put
is
some
in that?
sauce on, and I assume the sauce was like spicy or something. They don't say exactly what though.
Yeah.
But like
They
yeah.
don't say or show. Because I was looking specifically. They show her build the burger, but you don't see her put like a spicy sauce on it or anything like that. So
Yeah, and you learn like she's really into playing piano. That's her passion. She has this like fold out Nord piano. Nord is like a real brand, which I went to like a music fair with Leo in Indiana and played Nord pianos there, and they're great. I fucking want one so bad, but they're expensive as hell.
yeah, you like that piano tent quite a lot.
It was,
I remember
spent
that.
a lot of time there. So yeah, she like has never known her parents, and she has an immigrant past, and she doesn't take well to bullying. She will put like punch right back, basically. On the flip side is Tuesday. She is this rich, sheltered white girl who has clearly been repressed by like her rich mother, and like into not following her dreams of becoming a singer-songwriter. She wants to follow in the steps of people like Cyndi Lauper, who the first episode is named after her song "True Colors." And that's her inspiration for playing acoustic guitar. But she runs away from home. She winds up in the city after like a train ride. She immediately gets her like super futuristic suitcase stolen.
Oh, I know. She just like looks around like, ooh, shiny, and just like leaves it on the floor.
Yeah.
Gets it. Just like, and that's what happens. Pay attention.
And yeah, she finds Carole playing piano on the bridge, and she's like, starts crying. She's like, this is the music I've been looking for. And they immediately sort of hit it off. The other main character is Angela, who is this talented singer and model who is determined to rise to the top of the music industry, but in a very different way. Apparently AI, like artificial intelligence music production, has taken over like the pop charts on Mars. Like 99% of the hits are all created through algorithm. And especially by one music producer named Tao, who is voiced by Hiroshi Kamiya, who's like Araragi from Monogatari, among other things. And he basically takes Angela under his wing, saying like, I'll make you a star if you like submit to my every whim, and like basically is trying to turn her into like the perfect robotic pop star pawn.
Well, I don't think he's quite that sinister. He's more just like, I want to do what I want. Like,
Sort of,
I'm
yeah.
taking you along for the ride. But yeah, like,
He's like a perfectionist too. Like he won't put up with anything less than perfection, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, but it is. I like a lot of things about the show. What really sold me was the ending animation.
Yeah, it's so cute.
Like the way they have them walking like differently.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much was put into that, and like the song of the ending is so adorable.
I kind of like how each episode starts off by telling you that they like make it. And like have like a killer performance. So you're like, okay, we know they make it, but we're just going to enjoy the journey up to that point. Which is it's almost a relief, because a lot of anime you're like, we know they're going to make it in the end. You know, just you can let us know. We're just here for the journey. And yeah, like, it's just a relief to see that. I do really like this show, but there's like a couple problems I have.
Yeah.
And this just might be me. But the show is called Carole and Tuesday.
Yeah, I've heard this complaint from not just you, by the way.
Oh, okay, cool. It's not just me. And we meet Tuesday first, which is the white girl. So in my brain, it wants to say this is Carole.
Carole is like a very stereotypical like white name usually.
It is a very white name. And I'm going to say, let's be honest here. Carole's the white girl name, and Tuesday is more of the black girl name. And I'm not saying like a black girl can't be called Carole, but like between those two things, like it's really messing with my brain. It wants to make Carole Tuesday, and it wants to make Tuesday Carole. And I'm just like, no.
I feel like this is like very prevalent in people who know like a Carole in their life, like who had like an Aunt Carole or something, you know.
And it has a lot to do with where like I've grown up. It's just the way it is, you know. So I don't really think too much on it.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess like you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is crazy though. If you look into who Tuesday's voice actor is, it's Kana Ichinose. She's doing fucking everything this season, dude. And like not just in like the big everything. She's voicing one of the main characters from Fairy Gone, Marlia.
Oh yeah.
And another main character from Hitoribocchi.
Bocchi herself. Wow.
Bocchi herself. Yeah.
Damn. That's a busy season.
That's 3 main casts. That's crazy.
One of the really cool things though, and I think Kat was going to mention this, is that while they have like great Japanese voice actors, when they start singing, which they usually perform a song like every episode,
they sing in English.
Yes.
And they have to be native English speakers.
Because they specifically did
auditions for these parts.
Thank you for these parts. Yeah.
I wondered because I was like, I've never heard such good English speaking parts in an anime ever in my life.
That's because they are legit English. One of the other funny things I noticed was like in the ED, the first half is not in color.
Yeah.
But the moment it switches, Tuesday is in a straight up Alice in the Wonderland dress.
Yes.
All in blue. And they put Carole in a fucking Freddy Krueger red and green sweater. And I just like the moment it switched, my head went, what if Alice and Freddy Krueger made a band?
Oh my God.
I was like, what the fuck?
So I totally agree with you and I see it, but like I think it was supposed to be a joke about how like they make a joke that she's like a Christmas Carol in the first episode. And like, so yeah, she has like a red and green Christmas like sweater on, but it is like Freddy Krueger sweater. It is.
It is straight up a Freddy Krueger sweater. And I was like, what the fuck?
I also, God, I love the art style of the OP so much.
Mm-hmm.
It is so cool. There's like this beautiful like rotoscoped dancing in it. It reminds me a little bit of La La Land or like some other kind of musical as they dance through the scenes. And it's like very watercolory. Oh God, it's gorgeous.
I think my favorite scene so far is probably when they crash the theater.
Yes.
And the guy takes a video of them because like it's so what would happen in today's world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so
it would
well
go viral
done.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so well done. This is
If that wasn't your favorite scene, the other favorite scene was probably when they were jamming in the room together. So both
I got
scenes are like,
goosebumps.
I did
yeah,
too.
it was good.
yeah, I shivered. I shivered when they were jamming. I was like, wow, this is pretty fucking amazing.
And so just looking forward to the future of the show. I'm super excited for like the AI music because like they have their singer-songwriter stuff, right? And it's good. But I want to see like what is the AI music that like Angela makes that they have to like struggle to like be better than, you know, right? Because like obviously that's going to be like a conflict at some point, like them going up against the music industry who have this like set way of doing things. How do they overcome that? And so I'm very excited to hear that music because there are so many cool musicians and artists that have signed up to be on this show. Like, and it just, the list keeps growing. They announced more like last week and I was like, holy shit. It just looks like it's going to be an incredible like musical. Like by the end, this soundtrack is just going to be best of the year, I think, hands down. So I'm super excited. But
it's going to be really hard to beat.
I love it so much. Oh my God.
And I'm glad I'm not the only one that's just like the names of the two girls just like mess with me.
Several other, I saw like 3 other people mention something like that. So like, you're not alone. It's kind of funny to me though, because I didn't even think about it too much, but then now that everybody's mentioned it, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of weird. But yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's take one last quick break because that was the last show of the season. And then we'll talk about the vote that we're going to get into. We'll be right back.
All right.
And you'll find out what we will be covering. So that's awesome. Woo!
Woohoo!
The following is an extract from Reanimator Pod episode 47, Blood, Blood, Blood. Taka discusses Des Irae.
Most of the characters in the show, particularly the villains, have more than one name, like many more than one. For example, the super powerful mage from my synopsis is Karl Kraft, also known as Mercurius, also known as Faust, also known as Saint Germain, also known as Paracelsus, also known as Cagliostro, also known as Copophilia Smudge. Woo! Okay, that last one is a Reanimator special, but the rest are all legit. Like, he actually has those names. How about a few more?
He's got more names?
No, they're other characters. He actually had that many names, though. Wilhelm Ehrenberg is Kazikli Bey, because why not? Valeria Trifa is Christoph Lohengrin, who's a priest and is commonly referred to as Father. Lord Heydrich is also Reinhard, and Teresia is Rhea, but Fujiren, aka Zarathustra, is our main character, and also refers to Rhea as Senpai. So we never really learn her name until other characters start calling her Rhea. But really her name's Teresia, so I don't really know how that adds up. Ugh.
And if you like that and you want to hear more from the Reanimator Pod, head on over to reanimatorpod.com. That's reanimatorpod.com. New episodes are out every Monday.
Don't drop that. Don't drop that.
Hey. Do you like wrestling?
Whether it be in a bar, an arena, some weird place in Asia, or in a stadium?
Or the occasional penis plex?
Well, if any of these things might tickle your fancy, anywhere in between, from penises to wrestling, you can come and check out our podcast.
Our podcast name is Smack It Down. We talk all things WWE, New Japan, anything else in between.
I'm Jay Silver.
I'm Corey Gold.
And we look forward to you joining us.
Happy Rusev Day.
Happy Rusev Day indeed.
And we're back, where you are going to learn what fucking shows we're covering this fucking season.
Oh my god, curse a little bit.
And
more.
we're actually not even 100% sure ourselves yet, actually.
I mean, we know like the 5, but we don't know
we know
the
the
other
5,
3.
but we don't know the picks.
Yeah. The showdown commences. Ba-da-da.
So, this season for the vote, like the past season, we are again going to watch 8 shows together. 5 of those shows are ones that we're going to come to a consensus on right now that we all want to watch. Then each of us will get one show as our lock, which means that even if our co-hosts didn't really want to watch it, they are now forced to watch it. However, they don't have to review the episodes. Only the person who locked it reviews those episodes from week to week to week. We'll cover the shows one episode at a time on a weekly basis, staying as close to airing time as we possibly can, which we're going to try and be better about this season. That's mostly my fault with editing. But we may end up making some mid-season cuts of certain shows, so we'll have the opportunity to change some stuff out if we don't like it. And also, if you really want us to cover something that we're not talking about, hit us up in our Discord or on Twitter, and we can take that into consideration as well. So this season, though, we are going to give a couple shows some special consideration. One of them, which you'll notice we didn't review, was Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2. We all loved like the first part of Season 3, and all know that we want to cover the second part. Episode 3 didn't come out until like basically just before this podcast, though.
Yep.
So we decided like we're just going to insta-lock this at the top of our consensus picks.
Yeah, because we all know we're going to.
Yeah, it makes sense.
We knew it was going to make it anyway, so might as well lock it.
Yeah. The other one is Dororo, which we've been following since last season, and we all still are really enjoying it and just want to keep following it. We felt there was no reason to vote on it. It would be in the top 3 or so anyway, so that means that there's only 3 consensus spots left and then 3 locks after those 2 picks have been made. So, with that being said, we can move on to our individual like top 10s or so of the season so far and see what we like. How about you, Leo?
All right. Number 10, Magmel the Sea Blue. Number 9, Fruits Basket. Number 8, Hitoribocchi no Mara 7, Carol. That is I don't know how that is a word.
It's a long word. It's
Number
like Hitoribocchi's lifestyle or something, I think is what it translates to. Sorry.
Okay. Number 7 is Carole Tuesday.
Too low.
Number 6 is RobiHachi. Number 5 is Wise Man's Grandchild.
You're the only person on earth who would have Wise Man's Grandchild. Actually, you're not. I know people who would, but like Wise Man's Grandchild over Carole Tuesday? Come on, Leo.
I know. That is kind of sad, Leo. You have shit taste sometimes.
Something about this isekai really just grabs me.
Okay.
I don't know why. So number 4, One Punch Man Season 2. Number 3, JoJo. Number 2, Fairygon. And number 1, Demon Slayer. Bcom, what about you?
The Fairygon is very high too. It's interesting to me.
Wow.
My number 10 show that I would love to follow is the Helpful Fox Senko-san.
To shit on, as you have noted.
Yeah, I would love to shit on it from week to week, but I don't think we're going to be following it. So I kind of just put that one there for fun. Number 9, One Punch Man Season 2. Like, I still want to watch it, but even if it was a little bit disappointing visually. 8, even though it's half length, I put this here. Ao-chan Can't Study, just because it was so consistently funny to me. Number 7, JoJo Golden Wind. Doppio has this to thank for me. Like, his introduction has made me more interested. Number 6, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba. Number 5, Hitoribocchi. Number 4, Kono Oto Tomare, Sounds of Life. I really think this show has something it could capitalize on. Number 3, Sarazanmai.
There's something wrong with you. Something really wrong with you.
Number 2, Fruits Basket 2019. And number 1, obviously, Carole Tuesday.
I would love for you to pick that just so Leo just shudders.
We'll see. We'll see.
Oh my god. Okay. My picks were number 10, Wise Man's Grandchild. Number 9, The Helpful Fox Senko-san. Not ironically, but because I want a wife.
Oh my god.
8, Kono Oto Tomare. I also like that a lot. It's so weird, like the areas that Bcom and I are similar in our tastes, and the areas where we're completely opposite.
Yeah,
it's so weird.
As I said earlier, the listeners didn't hear it, but like our top 10s are like the most diverse top 10s I think we've ever done.
Yeah,
so far. Yeah.
Number 7, Midnight Occult Servants. I like that one.
Cool.
Number 6, Fairy Gone. 5, We Never Learn, because you know I'm watching every fucking harem show that they come out with. 4, One Punch Man, based on popularity mostly, because like everyone is watching it.
Yeah.
3,
begrudgingly.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I feel like if we do cover this, it'll be like To Watch It Die. Like it'll be like, you know, when it would almost be like a broadcaster going to like one of those nursing homes every week and being like,
oh my
all right.
god.
I mean, his vitals are going down. Like he may have another few weeks. Back to you at the station.
Oh my god.
Because it's going down a little bit, but you know, it's our duty, kind of. I don't know.
Sure, go down with this ship.
Yeah. 3, Demon Slayer. 2, Fruits Basket. Gotta do that nostalgia. And then 1, Carole Tuesday, because duh.
So Leo, why don't you tell us then, what are our top 5 consensus picks?
So we already know 1 and 2, which is Attack on Titan season 3 and Dororo, and 3 and 4 and 5 are Kat's top 3 picks, which are Fruits Basket at 5, Demon Slayer at 4, and Carole Tuesday at 3.
Yes, that's because I'm the most balanced of us. I always know which ones are really the good ones. That's right, viewers.
Yeah, that's a solid top 5. I really like that top 5. I'm very happy with that. But now we got to pick 3 more locks. And yeah, this season we've rotated it out. So we have a different order of people picking locks first. This season, Leo goes first, then Kat, and then me. So, Leo, it's your turn to decide. What do you want to lock from what's left?
As we recorded, I spent most of my time probably thinking about this more than actually the shows we were going over.
Because like it's also like, what show do you want to personally review?
What do I want to do every week?
Yeah.
Can I possibly manipulate somebody in the process?
Oh, Leo, you're probably terrible at that. Let's be honest.
Are you kidding me? I'm one of the best. But what I decide on, I think, isn't even going to matter to either of you. But I'm going to, since you know I like to continue stuff, is go with JoJo still.
I thought so. I was
Good
like,
pick.
he's going to continue because that's like your
The
trump
only
card.
one that I ranked it was Fairy Gone. And my 4 and 5, One Punch Man season 2 and Wise Man's Grandchild really had me thinking about it. Even maybe a little bit RobiHachi.
Mm-hmm.
But
I thought maybe it would be Hachi. I thought it was going to be JoJo or Hachi. So
Interesting.
But I ended up going with JoJo. If I didn't go with JoJo, it probably would have been Fairy Gone. And then, man, it would have been a coin toss between Wise Man's Grandchild and RobiHachi. So
I think JoJo's a better pick than Fairy Gone, in my opinion. So yeah,
I agree
I'm happy with that.
All right, it's Kat's turn.
this is really
luck.
hard.
It is really hard, actually.
I'm like, do you already have it picked, or are you still like deciding?
I'm still deciding. So like,
I can see your pick maybe affecting Bcom's depending on where he's thinking.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. What. It just depends on where, because, oh, God. This is rough.
Because, like, if I do feel like we have a duty to cover One Punch Man, but, like, do I want to talk about that every week? No, not really.
Oh, boy.
Oh man, we got to keep stalling for Kat. She's still thinking.
Oh, this is gonna be interesting. I hope. You know what I think Kat would really like to talk about every week is crazy butt stuff.
No,
that's what I think.
Hey, did I tell you guys Bob's having a kid?
Is he
Why am
really?
I laughing so hard?
How did he go from I'm gonna move out to now I'm having a kid?
Oh, you skipped the part where they were going to get married and the menus fall through twice.
That accelerated quickly.
They've already tried. I'm giving you time to decide. They tried before and it didn't work, but now it's happened again. And I don't want to get into any more personal details after that. Yeah, that's a thing.
I'm happy for Bob. Good for Bob.
Yeah, yay for Bob. So what do you think, Kat?
I have to pick between a dumb harem show.
Oh boy.
Which will be more entertaining to cover week to week, but will have less substance.
Oh boy.
And a
I'm
show,
sweating right now. What the fuck are you gonna pick?
And a show that will be personally very boring for me. But I feel
I know the two shows you're looking at.
I will say that harem show was not even on Leo's and my list, but don't let that stop you.
Fuck. You guys suck because I know neither of you will pick One Punch, and I feel like we have to cover it. So it's like our ball and chain.
But we don't. They fucked up. They dropped the ball.
They did
honestly.
fuck up, but we have to cover the mess. It's
no,
like
we
when,
don't.
It's like when a BP
Who's telling us we have to?
Okay,
nobody.
BP spills shit in the ocean. We have to go over there and cover it and talk about how the mess is getting cleaned up. This is what we have to do. It sucks.
We're not news reporters.
No one wants to pull the galoshes on and wade out into the oily water, but we're gonna do it. It's our job.
No, it can be fun too. Oh my god, I don't know. It's up to you.
The story is still good. I will let you guys know the story is still good. Don't let the animation ruin it for you.
Story still seems to be pretty fun, and the animation is lackluster as is compared to the first season. Is serviceable enough. But it's just disappointing.
I'm gonna pick One Punch Man, and I'm gonna try to make it as entertaining as possible. I'm gonna explain what they should have done versus what they did in every episode.
That works.
Oh, okay. What are you gonna do, Bcom?
All right. So you did One Punch. All right. So now I have a really hard decision. Because there are several good shows. I will say I'm in between.
Did either of our choices affect yours at all, really?
Maybe yes, because I might have picked JoJo if you hadn't picked it.
Oh.
What? That's surprising
just because
to
I
me
think
and
I
Kat
wanted to
both,
continue
apparently.
that. But
Well, I think he really liked the new villain, is why.
I will say I'm in between three. I'm in between Kono Oto Tomare, Sarazanmai, and Hitoribocchi.
Please pick Sarazanmai. I want to see his pain.
Don't.
Please.
What were the other
do
ones?
it.
Hitoribocchi and what?
Bocchi and Kono Oto Tomare, The Sound of Life.
Please do it. You imagine the conflict and the chaos every week that will entertain our viewers.
This is true.
I would also probably hate Sounds of Life, to be honest.
Okay. If you're gonna hate Sounds of Life,
No, but you
fuck
know
that.
he won't hate it as much as Sarazan.
Exactly. If you're gonna hate a thing, I'm gonna pick the thing you're gonna hate the most.
Oh, well, have I told you how much I hate that Hitoribocchi show? I can't even say it right. It's the worst ever. Dude, it's the creator of Mitsubishi Colors. That show was shit also, so I don't know what's going on
I
here.
wish that Hitoribocchi was just like slightly better than it is.
I wish it lived up to Mitsubishi colors.
Yeah.
Then otherwise I'd be like, why did you not pick that one? And why did I not rank it higher, obviously, but
just think of the visceral reactions that Leo is going to have.
What's going to have the better conversations?
Oh, you know what's going to have the better conversations.
I'm rooting for Ninja Girl. Ninja Girl's going to come in into Hitoribocchi, and she's going to fucking slay it. We're going to love it. It's going to be our second Mitsubishi colors. I'm just calling it. I'm just saying.
I mean, Hitoribocchi is definitely going to be a fun show. Like, I will definitely be watching that show 100%. I'll definitely be watching Kono Oto Tomare as well. I feel like I owe it to myself to try to explain an Ikuhara show as it airs just once.
Dude, do you know how much you have on your plate locking this? You know every episode. Oh, no. These episodes are going to go too long with Bcom doing them. It's going to be so bad.
I want it so bad. Oh, my God.
I might actually fall asleep during recording.
Oh my god!
No, Leo, you see, I'll make it really fun for you, though. Like, I'll do it in a way that's going to be like really fun, and it's going to set up so many perfect jokes for you. Let's do it. Let's just shove it up our butts and do Sarazanmai. Let's just fucking.
Every season, one of you two picks something I fucking hate. Every time.
Look, you got all these other great shows. You can't really complain about the one show. It's fine.
I can because it's your fucking lock.
For at least 6 episodes. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, I feel alright about that. Man, if Kono Oto Tomare had just shown like a little bit more like signs it was going to go in very interesting places, I would have done that. I feel like what you said, Leo, put me over the top, which is going to have the most interesting conversations, and I think it's Sarazanmai, even more than Bocchi. So,
oh god,
blame yourself for that.
So amazing, you guys, be excited! Oh my god.
So yeah, this season we are covering Attack on Titan, Dororo, Carole Tuesday, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Fruits Baskets, JoJo's Golden Wind, One Punch Man Season 2, and Ikuhara's masterpiece about gay middle school boys, Sarazanmai. So, with all that said, thank you for listening. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe to us on YouTube to get updates on new podcasts or videos. You can also find our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and Stitcher. And follow us on Twitter at Nerdom and Other for updates as well. Come hang out on our Discord with the link in the description, where I'll probably make a Sarazanmai emote now.
It has to be a butt. It has to be a butt.
It has to be the thing where they pull the little marble out of his ass.
The anal piece. Yes.
That butt. Or a butt.
Yeah.
I'll take either, yes.
All right. With all that, we will see you next time for episode 3s of Spring. See you then.
Bye.
Later.